You have been taught to believe that abundance is something you earn, but it is something you remember. The universe is not holding your blessings back. It is waiting for you to recognize that you are made of the same infinite substance it is. You are not outside the flow. You are the flow. The universe is infinitely abundant, and so are you. I draw from the infinite supply of the universe. There is no lack in divine mind. Beloved, take a deep breath and open your heart. You are not separate from the universe. You are made of the same infinite light that created it. The universe is infinitely abundant, and so are you. Every wave, every tree, every breath of air is proof that life never stops giving. There is no lack in divine mind. There is only endless supply. You were not born to chase what already belongs to you. You were born to remember that the source that made you has already prepared everything you will ever need. When you understand this, you stop reaching outward and start receiving inward. You stop begging and you begin allowing. You stop waiting and you start trusting. Say softly now, I am a divine magnet for wealth. Money seeks me out and flows to me freely. I am one with the infinite supply of the universe. Every time you speak these words, you awaken the truth within your being. You begin to feel the current of abundance flowing towards you, invisible but unstoppable. The more you affirm it, the more real it becomes. You are surrounded by provision, even when you cannot yet see it. You are supported by unseen forces that move according to your faith. Say softly, there is no shortage in the universe. There is enough for everyone, and more than enough for me. When you believe in limitation, you shrink your world. When you believe in infinite supply, your world expands to meet your faith. You are not waiting for your blessing. Your blessing is waiting for your permission. And the moment you give thanks for it, the moment you stop worrying about how it will come, it begins to move. Say gently, I release all fear of lack. I trust divine order to provide everything I need in perfect time and perfect ways. The universe has never stopped multiplying. Every tree bears countless seeds. Every river flows endlessly toward the sea. Every sunrise gives new light without asking for payment. That same law lives in you. You are part of the pattern of plenty. You were designed to receive easily and give joyfully. When you give, you do not lose. You activate circulation. When you bless what you have, you invite more of it. When you thank life for what you see, you draw in what is still unseen. This is the secret of infinite supply. It moves toward gratitude, peace, and expectation. Say softly, I live in divine flow. Everything I need is already prepared. I draw from the infinite storehouse of the universe. You do not need to force or struggle to make things happen. You only need to align with what already is. The law of supply is eternal, constant, and generous. It does not choose favorites. It simply responds to faith. So when you wake each morning, speak to your world with confidence. Thank you, universe, that I am fully supported. Thank you that money flows to me freely. Thank you that I live in an abundant world. Every word of gratitude becomes a command. Every calm thought becomes a bridge between the unseen and the seen. Every time you affirm abundance, the old belief in scarcity begins to fade. Say softly now, I am one with infinite supply. All channels are open. All doors are unlocked. Everything that belongs to me by divine right flows to me easily, freely, abundantly, and under grace. You are the vessel through which the universe expresses its generosity. You are the channel through which divine energy becomes visible. You are the living proof that heaven's storehouse never runs dry. And when you speak from this knowing, not from need, but from certainty, your life begins to mirror the wealth of your inner world. You no longer question when it will happen. You no longer wonder if you are worthy. you know. You know that the same light that made the stars has already lit your path. You know that you cannot miss what is meant for you. And you know that the universe is infinitely abundant. And so are you. Say softly one last time, I am the evidence of infinite supply. I live in a universe that never runs out. All that I desire flows to me in perfect order, under grace, and in divine timing. And so it is. Beloved, lack is not real. It is a shadow, an illusion, a passing thought that has no power except the one you give it. There is no lack in the universe. There is only flow, endless, infinite, divine. Every time you believe in shortage, you step out of the river of supply. But the moment you return to faith, the current carries you again. Say softly, there is no lack in divine mind. I am supplied with everything I need and more. Again, there is no lack in divine mind. A lack is the language of fear. Abundance is the language of truth. When you say, I don't have enough, the universe echoes your words. But when you say, I live in overflow, the universe rushes to fulfill it. You are not at the mercy of the world. The world is shaped by your belief. Say softly, I dissolve every thought of not enough. I replace it with faith in infinite supply. Every fear of loss is a fog that hides your blessing. Every doubt about your worth delays your miracle. But the moment you choose to believe again, the fog clears, and what was always yours appears. You were never meant to live in survival. You were meant to live in creation. You were not sent here to worry about what you will eat, wear, or earn. You were sent here to remember that the universe provides for all who trust. Say softly, I am free from the illusion of lack. I see only abundance. Everything I desire is already prepared. When you look at life through eyes of fear, everything seems small. When you look through eyes of faith, everything expands. The same opportunity that looked impossible begins to unfold. The same delay that felt heavy begins to reveal divine timing. The same situation that seemed closed begins to open. You are not a victim of lack. You are a creator of plenty. And creation begins in the mind. You think it, you speak it, you feel it, and then you see it. Your thoughts are blueprints, and your emotions are the builders. Whatever you dwell upon, you invite into form. Say softly, I speak abundance. I live abundance. And so, abundance appears everywhere I go. The energy of lack whispers, there is not enough for everyone. The truth says, there is more than enough for all. The energy of fear says, if I give, I will lose. The truth says, when I give, I expand. The energy of worry says, what if it doesn't happen? The truth says, it is already done. Beloved, every time you affirm truth, illusion dissolves. You are not changing the universe. You are remembering how it already works. Abundance does not begin outside you. It begins in your consciousness. The more you expect good, the more good rushes to meet you. The more you bless what you have, the more it multiplies. The more you trust, the faster it flows. Say softly, I trust the process of divine supply. I live in perfect circulation of wealth, peace, and opportunity. There is no need to force. There is no need to chase. What is meant for you cannot be kept from you. Your only task is to align your thoughts with truth. When you do, everything begins to rearrange itself in your favor. When your energy says, I am safe, money your heart says, I'm worthy, doors open. When your spirit says, I am one with abundance, miracles unfold. Say softly, I release fear. I release doubt. I release worry. I am one with abundance now. You are not meant to chase money. Money is meant to follow your peace. You are not meant to beg the universe. The universe is meant to respond to your faith. You are not meant to compete for supply. You are meant to cooperate with it. Because there is no competition in infinity. There is only creation. There is only flow. There is only the quiet that what belongs to you will arrive, and nothing can stop it. Say softly one last time. The illusion of lack is gone. I see only abundance. I live in infinite supply, and all that I need flows to me now. And so it is. Beloved, everything in this universe moves by the law of circulation. What flows lives. What is held in fear begins to fade. Money is not meant to be clutched. It is meant to move. Love is not meant to be stored. It is meant to be shared. Faith is not meant to be silent. It is meant to speak. Every blessing multiplies through movement. Say softly now, I am part of divine circulation. I give freely, I receive abundantly, and my supply never ends. Again, I give freely, I receive abundantly. When you hold back, you interrupt the rhythm of life. When you give in faith, you invite multiplication. Every act of generosity sends a message to the universe. I trust that there is more. And the universe always responds to trust. Fear says, hold tightly. Faith says, let go. Fear says, what if it never returns? Faith says, it always comes back multiplied. Your choice determines your flow. Say softly. Everything I give returns multiplied. Every good I send out comes back with increase. My giving creates my receiving. Think of money like a river. When the river flows, it stays alive, sparkling, fresh, renewing. But when you block it, it grows stagnant. So it is with your blessings. Every time you release money in peace, paying bills, giving gifts, supporting others, you are saying, I am not afraid. I trust divine supply, and that trust turns every dollar into a seed that grows. Say softly, I pay in peace. I give with joy. I release with faith. Beloved, money is energy. It listens to the vibration of your emotion. When you spend with fear, it leaves quietly. When you spend with love, it returns with friends. When you give with gratitude, it grows roots in your life. That is how circulation becomes creation. You were never meant to live by hoarding. You were meant to live by harmony. You were never meant to clutch what you have. You were meant to trust what flows through you. You are not the owner of supply. You are the channel through which supply moves. And the clearer the channel, the faster the flow. Say softly, I am a clear channel of abundance. Money flows through me freely and returns abundantly. Again, money flows through me freely and returns abundantly. Every time you give with peace, you declare your faith louder than your fear. You prove that you trust the law of divine compensation. The universe cannot help but refill what you release. It rushes to fill every open hand, every open heart, every open mind. Beloved, there is no loss in giving. What leaves your life through love always returns multiplied. What is released in fear is gone, but what is released in faith becomes your harvest. This is the sacred cycle. Give, receive, grow, give again. Say softly, I give because I am rich. I receive because I am open. I expand because I am free. Every generous act aligns you with divine rhythm. Every grateful payment anchors you in abundance. Every blessing you send out blesses you twice, once when you give it and once when it returns. So bless every transaction. Bless every bill. Bless every exchange. Say to yourself, as this leaves my hands, it multiplies in the universe and returns in perfect ways. You are never losing. You are circulating. You are never decreasing. You are preparing for increase. Beloved, abundance flows in waves. When you breathe out, you make space to breathe in. When you release, you make room to receive. When you trust, you make room for miracles. This is the law of life, and life never stops moving. Say softly, I am in rhythm with the universe. I give with ease. I receive with grace. I live in endless circulation of good. Feel how peaceful that truth is. No resistance, no fear, only flow. You are not waiting for prosperity to arrive. You are standing in the middle of it. You are not chasing blessings. You are breathing them in and out like light. And the more you flow, the more the universe flows through you. Say softly one final time, I live in divine circulation. I give in love, I receive in abundance, and my supply is infinite. And so it is. Beloved, words begin creation, but emotion completes it. You can speak of abundance all day, yet if you feel fear within, your vibration stays closed. To call in abundance, you must feel abundant. To attract wealth, you must vibrate wealth. Your emotion is the magnet. Your peace is the proof. Your joy is the signal that tells the universe, I am ready. Say softly now, I feel rich in spirit, therefore riches appear in form. Again, I feel rich in spirit, therefore riches appear in form. Every time you speak those words, your body begins to remember the truth. You were never meant to chase what you can become. You were meant to embody it. When you walk with peace, you invite prosperity. When you smile with gratitude, you unlock divine doors. When you wake with faith, you create momentum in the invisible. Because the universe is emotional before it is material. It listens not only to your words, but to your vibration. Say softly, my emotions are magnetic. When I feel peace, I attract provision. When I feel joy, I attract increase. When I feel gratitude, I attract miracles. Let those words sink into your heart. Every emotion you choose becomes a signal. Fear says, I do not trust. Faith says, it is already done. Anxiety says, I must make it happen. Peace says, it is happening for me. Beloved, you cannot rise into wealth while carrying worry. You cannot open to blessing while holding on to fear. So release it now. Release the need to control. Release the story of struggle. Release the idea that success must be earned through exhaustion. You are not rewarded for suffering. You are rewarded for believing. Say softly, I am calm, confident, and connected to abundance. Again, I am calm, confident, and connected to abundance. Each time you speak that, your nervous system relaxes. Your body begins to align with your spirit. Your mind quiets. And that silence becomes the doorway through which manifestation enters. Beloved, abundance is a frequency, not a formula. It cannot be forced. It can only be felt. The moment you feel the joy of already having it, the universe moves mountains to match your vibration. You do not chase it, you call it by emotion. Say softly, I feel abundant now. I feel safe now. I feel worthy now. And because I feel it, it comes. Imagine yourself already living in your answered prayer. See your home filled with peace. See your table overflowing with purpose. See your days radiant with purpose. See your account blessed, your family smiling, your mind serene. The more real it feels within, the faster it becomes real without. This is the divine secret, to prepare your heart for what you ask for. If you feel fear, you are preparing for delay. If you feel faith, you are preparing for delivery. Say softly, I prepare for my blessings with joy. I expect miracles with gratitude. I receive abundance with ease. Every word becomes a seed. Every emotion becomes water. Together, they bloom into the garden of your reality. So tend to your inner garden with love. Speak life into your emotions. Turn doubt into excitement. Turn fear into readiness. Turn waiting into gratitude. The universe responds to the emotion of completion. When you feel as though it is already done, you become irresistible to the outcome. The unseen begins to arrange itself in your favor. And what once felt far begins to feel natural. Say softly now, I am one with abundance. I am aligned with peace. I am tuned to prosperity. Again slower, I am tuned to prosperity. Beloved, you are not manifesting something outside of you. You are amplifying what already lives inside of you. Every emotion that peace lifts you closer to your miracle. So when you wake, choose joy. When you give, choose love. When you wait, choose gratitude. For every choice of love multiplies supply. Say softly as your decree, my joy is my magnet. My peace is my wealth. My gratitude is my proof. Let that truth fill your whole being. Because the more you feel rich before the riches, the sooner they arrive. The more you feel loved before the love, the faster it finds you. The more you feel worthy before the reward, the quicker it appears. This is how you align emotion with abundance. You feel first, and faith follows. You believe first, and blessing follows. You give thanks first, and overflow follows. So, right now, whisper softly, the universe is infinitely abundant, and so am I. I feel it, I know it, I trust it, and I live it. And as you breathe those words, your vibration becomes the very thing you desire. You are not waiting for wealth. You are walking as wealth. You are not asking for abundance. You are radiating abundance. And everything aligned with that frequency is already making its way to you. And so it is. Beloved, gratitude is the language of faith. It is the sound the soul makes when it knows that everything it has prayed for is already on its way. Gratitude is not something you wait to feel after the miracle. It is what summons the miracle in the first place. When you give thanks before you see results, you are saying to the universe, I trust the unseen. You are declaring, it is already done, and heaven moves faster for the heart that is thankful without proof. Say softly now, I give thanks for everything I have, and for everything that is coming. Again, I give thanks for everything I have, and for everything that is coming. Each time you speak those words, your vibration rises. Gratitude melts resistance. It dissolves fear. It opens the gate between the invisible and the visible. When you are thankful, you become magnetic. The universe leans closer to the grateful heart and says, Here, take more. Beloved, gratitude is the master key to every door. It multiplies what you bless. It expands what you appreciate. If you bless your finances, they grow. If you bless your body, it heals. If you bless your time, it stretches. If you bless your past, it releases power. Gratitude does not just change how you feel. It changes what you attract. Say softly, I bless what I have. I bless what I am. I bless what is on its way. Again slower. I bless what I have. I bless where I am. I bless what is on its way. When you live in gratitude, you stop asking, when will it come? You begin saying, thank you that it's already here. And that shift turns waiting into receiving. Because the energy of thank you is the energy of completion. Beloved, many people pray with their mouths but doubt in their hearts. They speak words of faith but feel emotions of fear. But gratitude unites the two. It makes your prayer one with your vibration. It turns your hope into certainty. Say softly, I am grateful now, therefore abundance appears now. Again, I am grateful now, therefore abundance appears now. A gratitude is proof that you believe in divine timing. When you thank the universe in advance, you declare that the law is already working. And when you know the law is working, the law works faster. Faith without gratitude is incomplete, because gratitude is faith in motion. Every time you open your eyes in the morning, whisper, thank you for another day of divine supply. When you eat, say, thank you for this food that reminds me of endless provision. When you work, say, thank you for the gift of service and the reward that follows. And when you rest, say, thank you for perfect peace. Beloved, gratitude is not a reaction. It is a creation. You do not need things to go right before you give thanks. You give thanks, and then things go right. You do not wait for proof, you bless your life. You bless your life, and proof appears. Say softly, I thank before I see. I bless before I hold. I believe before I receive. Again, I believe before I receive. The energy of thankfulness is the energy of wholeness. It tells the universe, I lack nothing. And the universe, always obedient, responds, then let there be nothing missing. That is how miracles are multiplied. Beloved, gratitude also heals the past. When you thank every experience, even the difficult ones, you transform their vibration. You stop carrying pain and start carrying wisdom. You stop saying, why did that happen to me? And begin saying, that happened for me. Gratitude thrones into wisdom, and wisdom into wealth. Say softly, I thank the lessons of my past. I bless the blessings of my present. I celebrate the miracles of my future. Again, I celebrate the miracles of my future. Each time you say, thank you, your aura brightens. Your energy field expands. You become more magnetic to good, to peace, to prosperity. Because gratitude is love wearing the clothes of faith, and love, beloved, is the highest vibration in the universe. Say softly now, I am thankful for everything, seen and unseen. I am thankful for every answered prayer and every lesson disguised as delay. I am thankful because I know the law always works in my favor. Gratitude makes you a magnet for miracles. It tells heaven, I am ready for more. And heaven never disappoints a grateful heart. Beloved, from this day forward, let thank you be your constant prayer. Let it be your morning song and your evening whisper. Let gratitude be your first response, your last thought, your daily rhythm. Say softly one last time, I am grateful before and after my blessings. My gratitude multiplies my good. I live in the overflow of divine supply. Feel that truth sink deeply into your spirit. Because the moment you thank life for what you have, life gives you more to thank it for. And the moment you bless your world begins to bless you back. Beloved, abundance is not something you wait for. It is something you walk in. You do not become abundant by thinking about wealth. You become abundant by acting like wealth already lives within you. Every step, every decision, every word can affirm abundance or affirm lack. The choice is always yours. Say softly now, I move like one who already has. Again, I move like one who already has. When you act from abundance, you stop asking, will this work? And begin saying, this is already working. You stop questioning how and start affirming now. You stop hesitating and begin trusting. Because action is the evidence of faith. Faith without movement is waiting. Faith with movement is creation. Beloved, every time you spend money in peace, you are acting from abundance. Every time you give with joy, you are declaring, there is more where that came from. Every time you walk boldly toward your vision, instead of away from it, you prove that you believe in divine supply. Say softly, I give freely, I receive abundantly, and my supply is endless. Again slower. My supply is endless. You see, abundance does not come to the one who waits, it flows to the one who moves with faith. When you act as though you already have what you desire, the universe rushes to match your vibration. It does not wait for perfect plans or perfect timing. It responds instantly to certainty. Beloved, your action is your prayer in motion. Every choice either expands your flow or restricts it. When you choose generosity, you multiply circulation. When you choose fear, you freeze it. So act like the river, not the dam. Keep your flow open, and life will keep pouring through you. Say softly, I act with confidence. I trust every inspired idea. I move when my spirit says move. Every inspired nudge that rises from peace is divine guidance. When you obey that quiet direction, you align yourself with opportunity. The doors you've been knocking on suddenly open, not because you forced them, but because you finally matched their frequency. Beloved, you are not waiting for wealth. Wealth is waiting for your movement. You are not waiting for faith. Faith is waiting for your yes. You are not waiting for miracles. Miracles are waiting for your obedience. Say softly, I am ready. I am willing. I am moving in faith. Each step you take with confidence sends a message to the universe. I believe. And the universe replies, then receive. That is how the law works. Faith expressed through action becomes magnetism. Beloved, acting from abundance does not mean spending carelessly or pretending. It means moving wisely, peacefully, with trust in divine timing. It means giving when guided, resting when told, speaking when inspired. It means no longer living from fear of not enough, but from the certainty of endless supply. Say softly, everything I give returns multiplied. Everything I release makes room for more. The more you practice this truth, the more your reality begins to shift. You will notice unexpected gifts, divine appointments, and unseen support appearing just when needed. Because abundance loves motion. It meets you halfway, but never while you stand still, so start where you are. Take one faithful step today. Write the plan, make the call, give the gift, speak the word, and let that movement prove your belief. Say softly, I move in confidence. I act as the universe acts, freely, fearlessly, faithfully. Beloved, every small action aligned with faith builds momentum. Every gesture of trust sends ripples through the unseen. When you treat money with peace, you attract more. When you treat opportunities with gratitude, they expand. When you act like you already belong to abundance, you become one with it. You are no longer waiting for signs. You are the sign. You are no longer hoping for favor. You are walking in it. You are no longer wondering if the universe will support you. You are proving that it already does. Say softly now as your decree. I live from abundance. Not for it. I act from faith, not fear. Every move I make is blessed. Every step I take is guided. Everything I do is multiplied under grace and in perfect ways. Feel those words take root in your being. They are no longer affirmations. They are declarations. They are permission slips to the universe, saying, I am ready to receive what I have already spoken. Beloved, you were never meant to chase. You were meant to create. You were never meant to wait. You were meant to walk. You were never meant to hope for provision. You were meant to flow with it. So today, act as if your abundance is already complete. Smile as though every desire is answered. Give as though every dollar returns multiplied. Speak as though every word carries creation. Because when you act like abundance, you become abundance. Say softly one final time, the universe is infinitely abundant, and so am I. My faith moves mountains. My actions open doors, and my abundance flows endlessly. And so it is. Beloved, now you are ready. You have remembered the truth that was written in your soul since the beginning of time. That you are not separate from the universe. You are the universe expressing itself as you. The same life that moves the oceans moves in your veins. The same intelligence that formed the stars is guiding your steps. The same energy that grows the flowers grows your dreams. You are not a visitor in the field of abundance. You are its heartbeat. Say softly now, I am one with the infinite. I am one with divine supply. I am one with every good and perfect gift. Again, I am one with the infinite. Feel those words, not as sentences, but as truth vibrating through every cell. You have never been lacking. You have only been learning. You have never been waiting. You have only been awakening. You have never been separate. You have only been remembering. Beloved, the universe is not outside of you. It is within you, flowing through you, responding to you. Every thought you think moves through its current. Every feeling you hold colors its frequency. Every word you speak echoes through eternity, returning to you multiplied. Say softly, universe and I are one force of creation. When I speak, it answers. When I move, it aligns. When I believe, it delivers. You are not small, beloved. You are not forgotten. You are not limited by circumstance or time. You are eternal consciousness, wrapped in form. You are the vessel through which the divine experiences its own expansion. Look at the stars. Do they compete to shine? Look at the ocean. Does it fear running dry? Look at the sun. Does it beg to rise? No, beloved. They all follow their nature, and so must you. Your nature is abundance, is wealth. Your destiny is peace. Say softly, I align with my divine nature. I am abundant by design. I am prosperous by purpose. As you speak, your energy field begins to glow. You start to feel lighter, calmer, more whole. That is the universe recognizing itself in you. A mirror finally clear, a channel finally open. Every limitation begins to dissolve. Every false story loses power. You are no longer the one who begs for blessings. You are the one who blesses. You are no longer the one who seeks miracles. You are the one through whom miracles flow. Say softly, I am the channel of divine abundance. I am the expression of infinite love. I am the proof that heaven lives on earth. Every breath you take is creation in motion. Every heartbeat is wealth pulsing through your being. Every moment of gratitude expands the world around you. Because abundance is not something you reach. It is something you remember and radiate. Beloved, wealth is not what you have. It is what you carry. It is the calm in your spirit, the faith in your words, the love in your giving. It is the confidence that no matter what changes, your source remains unshaken. You are safe. You are supplied. You are surrounded by favor. Say softly, everything I desire already belongs to me. It comes to me freely, easily, abundantly. Under grace and in perfect. Freely, easily, abundantly, under grace and in perfect ways. This is your declaration of oneness. The old identity of fear, worry, and lack is gone. The new identity of peace, faith, and overflow has risen. You no longer chase, you attract. You no longer beg. You command. You no longer hope. You know, say softly, I am not separate from abundance. I am abundance. I am not seeking wealth. I am wealth. I am not waiting for miracles. I am the miracle. Beloved, the more you speak this truth, the more your world will rearrange itself to match it. People will appear. Doors will open. Ideas will flow. And what once felt delayed will suddenly arrive with divine precision. Because heaven cannot resist a soul that remembers its worth. Say softly one final decree, I am one with divine supply. The universe and I move as one. All that I need, all that I desire, and all that belongs to me flows to me now. Freely, abundantly, and forever. Feel those words breathe through you like light. You are no longer separate from your blessings. You are living inside them. You are no longer looking for abundance. You are the living proof of it. The universe is infinitely abundant, and so are you. It has never stopped flowing. It has only been waiting for your remembrance. And now, beloved, you remember. You are aligned. You are one with the infinite. And so it is. Forever and ever, so it is.
Every man and woman walks with an invisible companion, a power so mighty and yet so gentle that a single word, a single thought of faith, can set it in motion. Yet so many stumble in the darkness, believing themselves abandoned, left to struggle with burdens they were never meant to carry alone. They plead, they beg, and still the heavens seem silent. But the truth is this, the divine never withholds. The supply is ever present, the help ever near, waiting only for the key that unlocks it. That key is alignment, spoken with boldness, clothed in certainty, and free from the trembling garments of fear. To force God to help you is not to wrestle with a reluctant giver, but to stand in the authority that is already yours. The laws of spirit are precise. unchanging, eternal. Just as the law of gravity pulls an apple to the earth, so the law of faith draws your good from the unseen into the seen. The difficulty lies not in the giver, but in the receiver. The current of divine power is like electricity. It does not decide who shall use it. It simply flows where the connection is complete. When you command in faith, when you speak as though the thing were already done, you complete the circuit. Help rushes in, not because God was persuaded, but because you stepped into the vibration where the miracle already existed. Every thought, every word you release is a seed. Speak doubt, and you plant weeds that choke the garden. Speak faith, and the harvest is sure. To force is not to strain, not to beg, but to declare with calm assurance, it is mine. It comes to me by right of consciousness. No obstacle can stand against the law of spirit. Such words carry authority, and authority is irresistible to the unseen forces that govern life. They move, they rearrange, they open doors and dissolve barriers, for the law responds unfailingly to the command of belief. Consider how a child calls upon its parent, without hesitation, without question. The child does not wonder if the parent is willing, it assumes help is certain. That simple confidence is the force that draws supply. So it must be with you. Your part is not to question how or when, but to claim and to know. The moment you stand unwavering, the moment you release all fear and replace it with certainty, you compel the unseen to take form. God is not persuaded by your worry, but by your word of authority. Heaven moves at the sound of conviction. When the shadows press close, when the way seems blocked, rise in the strength of your inner command. Say to yourself, I am backed by the infinite. I walk with the power that parts seas, that stills storms, that brings water from the rock. Nothing is too great, nothing too small. Help is here now. And as you speak, believe it already done. This is the secret of force, not pressure, not pleading, but the unshakable decree of a soul that knows its oneness with the source of all. Faith spoken with authority compels divine response. The whole mystery of life rests upon this one truth, and yet countless souls go through their days never grasping it. They pray timidly, half in fear, half in hope, as though the infinite were reluctant, as though the giver must be coaxed and convinced. But the law of spirit does not respond to pleading. It responds to command. The spoken word charged with faith becomes a decree. It is not a suggestion, not a timid request, but an assertion of the reality already existing in the unseen. To speak with authority is to align oneself with the certainty that the power backing all creation is now backing you, and once aligned, that power cannot resist. It moves, it acts, it rushes forward to manifest that which has been declared. When one speaks with authority, there is no trembling in the voice, no hidden shadow of doubt. The words are clothed in assurance. And assurance carries a vibration that sets in motion the machinery of the universe. The command is not born of arrogance, but of knowing. It is the recognition that man is a channel of the divine, and as such he inherits the authority of the source itself. Just as a king's decree carries weight not because of the man, but because of the throne behind him, so the decree of faith carries weight because the infinite stands behind it. To command in faith is to speak as one vested with authority, not because of personal strength, but because of divine backing. Faith spoken with authority is not loud, nor is it dramatic. It may be whispered, yet it shakes mountains. It may be uttered in silence, yet it reverberates through the invisible. Authority is not in the volume of the voice, but in the certainty of the word. The universe does not measure sound but belief. When one says, "This is mine, now, by right of divine law," and speaks it as though it were undeniable, the law responds as surely as a shadow follows light. The response may come through people, through circumstances, through sudden openings and unexpected channels. But it must come, for the command once released has set the unseen into motion. The weakness of many lies in double-mindedness. They speak faith one moment and cancel it with fear the next. They declare healing but speak sickness. They affirm abundance but confess lack. They call for joy but dwell in sorrow. Such divided words carry no authority, for authority demands unity. When the tongue and the heart move together in one direction, the decree is strong. When the heart wavers, the word falls powerless. Authority is single-mindedness, an unwavering stand, a declaration that does not retreat. Faith spoken with authority never looks back to see if it is working. It knows the moment the word was spoken, the law was set in motion. Consider the power of the command given by a captain to his soldiers. The troops do not pause to question whether he truly means it, whether he has doubts in his private heart. The command itself is enough to move them into action. So it is with spirit. The law does not pause to weigh your worthiness, nor does it ask if you are deserving. It moves upon the decree of faith. For faith is the authority that activates the law. The moment the word of command is released, the invisible forces move into their appointed task. The supply begins its journey, the healing starts its work, the obstacle dissolves before it even appears. To speak in authority is to see with inner eyes. You do not wait for evidence before you declare. You declare because the evidence exists in the invisible. The visible world is but an echo, a delayed reflection of the unseen. If you speak only when you see, your words carry no power, for they merely echo what already is. Authority speaks before the manifestation, and that is what compels it to appear. Authority declares it is done, while others still cry, "Will it be?" Authority stands on the unseen foundation and calls it into visibility. This power of authoritative faith is not reserved for a chosen few. It belongs to every soul who dares to believe. Every individual carries within the spark of the divine, and with it, the right to command the law. But few use this gift, for they shrink in fear, thinking themselves too small, too unworthy, too uncertain. Yet authority does not rest on worthiness. It rests on alignment. When you align your thought and word with the certainty of Spirit's abundance, you are speaking not as a beggar, but as an heir. An heir does not beg for inheritance, he claims it. Faith spoken with authority is the claim of an heir, the voice of one who knows what is already his by right. Every story of deliverance, every miracle, every sudden breakthrough, has behind it a word of authority. The healing touch, the command to the storm, the decree to the mountain. These were not requests. They were statements. The authority was absolute, because the faith was absolute. If the storm obeyed a command then, it obeys now. If the mountain moved then, it moves now. The law has not weakened, it is only the faith of men that has faltered. Yet the moment a soul rises again to speak with conviction, the law springs into action as though awakened from sleep, though in truth it never slumbers. Faith spoken with authority also carries the element of joy. It does not strain, it does not labor, it does not wrestle in desperation. It is light, buoyant, assured. It is the word spoken with the smile of one who knows the banquet is already prepared, the doors already opened, the supply already flowing. Joy is the seal of authority, for joy signals certainty. Fear and heaviness reveal doubt, but joy reveals knowledge. When the word is released in joy, it vibrates at the level of completion, and completion cannot resist responding. Faith spoken with authority compels divine response because it resonates with the very language of creation. The universe itself was spoken into being, not suggested into being, not begged into being, but commanded. The creative word carries the essence of divine authority, and when man dares to echo that authority, he joins in the rhythm of creation itself. His word becomes creative, his decree becomes law. His faith becomes the channel through which the unseen flows into the seen. To speak in authority, therefore, is not an act of presumption, but of alignment with the very principle that set the stars in their courses and the seas in their bounds. The law of spirit operates like electricity. Connection completes the circuit. Imagine electricity flowing through wires, unseen, silent, yet ready to light a city, to move a train, to heat a home. Electricity does not ask who deserves it, nor does it withhold its force for one and grant it to another. It simply waits for the circuit to be completed. When the switch is turned, the current flows. When the wire is broken, the light goes out. Spirit works in the same unfailing way. The infinite power is always present, always flowing, always ready to manifest. The question is not whether the power is available, but whether the connection is complete. Many stand in darkness, crying out for light, yet never reach for the switch. They beg for power, yet their words of fear and doubt break the wire. They pray, but their prayers are filled with uncertainty, and uncertainty cuts the current. The law of spirit cannot be bribed, cannot be moved by desperation, cannot be manipulated by tears. It responds only to connection. The moment faith and word align, the circuit is closed, and the power rushes forth without resistance. It is not personal, it is not partial, it is principle. Just as a lamp lights for anyone who plugs it into the outlet, the law of spirit responds to anyone who completes the connection of belief. Connection is faith joined with spoken authority. Belief alone is like a wire that never touches the source. Words without belief are like switches that lead to nothing. But when faith and word come together, the circuit is made whole. The unseen force leaps into activity, and manifestation follows. The power does not struggle, it flows effortlessly. The law does not hesitate. It obeys instantly. The flow is as certain as the rising of the sun. The only task of man is to close the circuit, and the moment he does, the power answers. Think of a city where electricity runs in hidden wires beneath the streets. The current is there, abundant and ready, yet houses remain dark until someone connects to it. Spirit is the same. The abundance is unlimited, the supply is infinite, but it waits for the channel of faith. Some believe they must strive, labor, or plead to make the power flow, but striving is not the answer. The answer is simple connection. The act of saying with assurance, "It is mine now, by right of divine law," is the turning of the switch. That word, spoken in certainty, joins the soul to the infinite, and the circuit is complete. Where there is fear, the wire is frayed. Where there is doubt, the line is broken. Where there is worry, the switch is left half open, and the light flickers. This is why many live in uncertainty. They connect and disconnect, never holding steady in their faith. The power cannot flow steadily through a broken circuit. But when faith is constant and words are firm, the connection holds, and the power pours forth without ceasing. The one who learns to keep the circuit closed, by unwavering faith and unshaken word, becomes a magnet for supply, a vessel through which spirit manifests continually. The law of spirit is as impersonal as the law of electricity. Electricity does not care who flips the switch, it flows regardless of station or worthiness. Spirit does not choose favorites, nor does it measure who is most deserving. It operates for whoever fulfills the condition of connection. Some may look upon another's blessings and believe that person is specially chosen. But the truth is simpler: they have completed the circuit. They have believed, they have spoken, they have aligned, and therefore the power flows. The same current is available to all. There is great freedom in this understanding, for it removes the burden of striving to win favor from the divine. The infinite is not withholding, nor is it waiting to be persuaded. The flow of spirit is constant, as the current in the wire is constant. All that is needed is the act of connection. The command of faith is the hand upon the switch. The words of conviction are the wires drawn together. The moment the connection is made, the manifestation appears, not because God has changed his mind, but because the law has obeyed the circuit. Consider also that electricity can be dangerous if misused. A loose wire, a broken connection, a reckless hand may cause sparks and fire. So it is with spirit. Words of fear, anger, and negativity also complete circuits, but they draw destructive currents. The law does not discriminate between faith in good or faith in evil, it simply flows where it is directed. A person who continually speaks failure is as connected to failure as one who speaks abundance is connected to supply. The power magnifies whatever current is sent through the wire. Therefore, one must be careful with words, for words are switches that direct the flow. Speak lack, and lack increases. Speak health, and health strengthens. The current is ever willing, but the choice of connection lies with the individual. Just as electricity powers countless inventions, from lights to motors to machines, spirit manifests in countless forms. The same power that heals a body can supply a fortune. The same current that brings peace can open doors of opportunity. Spirit is one. But its manifestations are many, and it takes shape according to the mold of belief. The mold is cast by thought and word. A small mold creates a small manifestation, a great mold creates a great one. The power is limitless, but it can only pour into the vessel provided. To expand faith is to widen the vessel, to enlarge the circuit, to allow greater flow. This is why authority in faith is vital. A timid word opens only a trickle, but a bold decree opens the floodgates. Authority is the full connection, the complete circuit. It leaves no gaps, no breaks, no hesitation. It says with firmness, "It is done, it is mine, it comes by law," and such a word cannot be denied. The power does not delay. It flows at once, for the law is instant in its operation. What seems to take time in the visible world is already completed in the invisible. The circuit is closed, and the current is moving, even before the light appears to the eyes. To live in continual connection is the secret of unbroken supply. Just as a lamp shines as long as it remains plugged into the current, so the life of a man shines as long as he remains connected by faith and word. He does not stumble in and out of darkness, for his connection is steady. He speaks in confidence, he believes without wavering, and his every need is answered without strain. The power does not weaken, it does not fail, it does not tire. The only question is whether the circuit remains whole. Words are seeds, doubt plants weeds, faith plants harvests. Every thought, every utterance, every whispered phrase holds within it a power far greater than it appears. Words seem fleeting, light as air, gone as soon as they are spoken. Yet each one is a seed that falls into the fertile soil of the unseen. Once sown, it cannot be withdrawn. It lies there, alive with possibility, drawing substance from the invisible, pressing toward manifestation. What a man continually speaks, that he continually sows, and what he sows, he must surely reap. The soil of spirit makes no distinction between seeds. It does not choose whether to bring forth flowers or thorns. It simply produces after its kind. If doubt is spoken, doubt is planted. If fear is repeated, fear takes root. If complaint fills the air, complaint multiplies. These are weeds, springing up swiftly, choking out the good, covering the field with barrenness. Yet the same tongue that scatters weeds may scatter seeds of faith. A single word of unwavering conviction, released into the invisible, carries within it the pattern of abundance, of healing, of deliverance. It too takes root, unseen at first, but quietly drawing nourishment, growing, strengthening, until the harvest stands before the eyes. The process is inevitable, for spirit never returns void. Every word returns in form. Many wonder why their lives are filled with lack, with struggle, with sorrow. They look for causes in circumstance, in other people, in fate. Yet if they would listen to their own words, they would find the answer. The tongue has been scattering weeds day after day, season after season. I never have enough. Nothing ever works out for me. I am always sick. Such phrases seem harmless, mere expressions of feeling. But they are seeds, and seeds cannot help but grow. The soil does not ask if you meant them seriously, it only brings them to life. What is spoken in jest or in despair is still planted, and the field responds with weeds that multiply quickly. But faith speaks otherwise. Faith does not deny the appearance of lack, yet it sows abundance. Faith does not tremble at the shadow of illness, yet it sows health. Faith looks at the field and sees it barren, yet scatters seeds of plenty, knowing the unseen harvest already exists in the storehouse of spirit. My supply is unlimited. Health flows through every part of my being. Everything I desire by divine right comes to me in perfect ways. These words, spoken again and again with conviction, are living seeds. They press through the soil of the invisible, and at their appointed time, they appear in the visible. The greatest mistake many make is digging up the seeds they have planted by speaking contrary words. One day they sow faith, the next day they sow doubt. They plant good seed, then trample it underfoot with weeds. The soil cannot bring forth a pure harvest from a mixed field. The weeds overtake the flowers unless one is vigilant. A farmer does not plant wheat one day and pull it up the next to see if it is growing. He plants and waits, trusting the process. So must faith be. Speak the word, plant the seed, and do not uproot it with doubt. Guard the tongue, for the tongue is the sour, and every word matters. Words are not idle sounds, they are creative forces. They vibrate in the unseen, shaping substance, calling forth after their kind. Even the casual expressions people throw away lightly carry weight. To speak continually of fear, of loss, of misfortune is to give the soil of spirit instructions to create more of the same. To speak continually of good, of strength, of harmony is to direct the soil to bring forth blessing. There is no neutrality in words. Every utterance is a seed, and the harvest is sure. The power of words lies not only in their sound, but in the belief that charges them. A word of faith spoken with authority carries a seed rich with life. A word of doubt muttered in weakness still carries enough vitality to root itself. The soil receives them equally, but the quality of the seed determines the harvest. Therefore, to cultivate a field of abundance, one must discipline the tongue, train it to scatter only words of faith, and refuse to give voice to weeds. Silence is better than complaint, for silence plants nothing, while complaint plants thorns. When in doubt, speak nothing until the word of faith rises, for a guarded tongue protects the harvest. Consider a garden left untended. Weeds grow without effort, choking out the fruit. The gardener who desires a rich crop must labor to plant, to water, to protect, to weed diligently. The same is true of the inner field. Negative words spring up easily, for the mind is quick to repeat them. But faith requires attention, intention, discipline. To fill the field with flowers, one must choose consciously what words are spoken. It is the daily scattering of faith, seeds that ensures a season of plenty. The careless sower lives in a thicket of weeds, while the mindful sower reaps a harvest of beauty. Words also shape the unseen atmosphere around the one who speaks them. A person who continually utters words of doubt surrounds himself with a cloud of heaviness. Others feel it when they enter the room, though they may not know why. The air is thick with weeds, and the energy draws more of the same. By contrast, one who continually speaks faith creates an atmosphere charged with life. People feel lifted in his presence, opportunities flow toward him. Doors open without effort. The words he has sown have built an invisible field that magnetizes good. The harvest is not only personal but extends outward, touching all who come near. Every great achievement, every miracle, every answered prayer has been born from a seed of the word. A decree spoken in conviction is a seed that cannot die. Though it may lie hidden for a season, though appearances seem to contradict it, it continues to live beneath the surface, drawing substance from the invisible until the time of its unfolding. This is why one must never despise small beginnings. A seed is small, yet within it lies the whole harvest. A word may seem insignificant when first spoken, but within it lies the entire manifestation. To speak faith is to sow a future. Thus the power of the tongue is the power of creation itself. The field does not argue, it does not delay, it does not question. It simply produces what is planted. To understand this is to understand why life takes the shape it does, and why words must be guarded with vigilance. If weeds appear, it is because they were sown. If flowers bloom, it is because seeds of faith were scattered. The field is faithful to its task. The harvest always reflects the seed. True force is calm assurance, not pleading or pressure. The mind of man often imagines that to obtain from the infinite he must strive, struggle, or persuade. He believes that intensity of emotion or repetition of request will move the heavens in his favor. Yet the law of spirit is not swayed by struggle. It yields only to certainty. Calm assurance carries the true note of authority, and authority compels manifestation. The pleading voice betrays doubt. The pressured demand reveals fear, but the quiet, steady decree of assurance rings with the vibration of truth, and truth cannot be denied. When one is calm, one is centered. The center is the place of power. To plead is to wander from the center, to confess separation from the source, to announce by word and tone that help is distant and uncertain. But calm assurance rests in unity with the source. declaring that the thing sought is already secured in the unseen. The calm decree does not waver, it does not rush, it does not seek to convince. It simply states, and because it is spoken from the ground of faith, it stands. The invisible responds not to strain but to certainty, not to desperation but to alignment. Consider the difference between a child who begs and a child who claims his rightful inheritance. The beggar trembles, fearing refusal, uncertain of outcome. His voice rises and falls with anxiety, his heart heavy with the thought of lack. Yet the heir speaks calmly, with no need for persuasion, because he knows it belongs to him by right. That is the tone of true force. It is not loud, it is not frantic, it is not emotional display. It is steady, assured, unhurried, yet irresistible. The heavens bend to it because it carries the authority of unity with the infinite. Many imagine that long prayers, repeated phrases, and desperate cries will break through the silence of spirit. But length and noise are not the measure of power. One word, spoken in assurance, holds more weight than 1,000 uttered in fear. When the tone of calm authority is present, even a whisper shakes the unseen. The command need not be repeated endlessly, for repetition often hides unbelief. Once is enough if it is spoken from certainty. The seed planted does not grow faster by constant digging, it grows by being left in the soil. So it is with words of faith spoken in assurance. They must be released and trusted, not strained and pulled. True force flows from the recognition that Spirit has already completed the work. The good desired exists now in the invisible, waiting only for its appointed hour to appear. Pleading suggests that the good is absent, that it must be created anew, that it may or may not come. Pressure carries the vibration of impatience, which is born of doubt. Calm assurance, on the other hand, knows that the harvest is secure, that the supply is certain, that the outcome is inevitable. It rests in that knowledge, and because it rests, the law moves without obstruction. The atmosphere of calm is itself magnetic. When one speaks in assurance, others feel it. There is a stillness, a weight, a quiet confidence that draws results. Even nature responds. The storm quiets at a word spoken in calm authority. The troubled situation resolves at the decree of steady faith. Pressure agitates the atmosphere, scattering energy in all directions, while calm gathers it into one focused stream. The law of spirit follows the path of least resistance, and calm assurance is that path. Pleading builds resistance, assurance clears it. The great examples of authority in history show this truth. Mountains were not moved by desperate cries, but by firm decrees. Healings did not come from pressure, but from a simple statement of completion. The calm word carried the full power of the infinite because it was spoken in alignment with it. To stand in that calm is to stand as one with the source, and the source does not strive, it simply creates. The universe was not shouted into being, it was spoken. Quiet words carried infinite force because they were clothed in assurance. Calm assurance also brings clarity. When the mind is frantic, rushing, pressuring, it cannot hear the still voice of guidance. Opportunities may pass unseen, doors may stand open yet be overlooked, because the eyes are clouded by fear. But the calm mind perceives clearly. It knows when to act, when to wait, when to move forward. Assurance creates inner stillness, and in stillness guidance is heard. The right word, the right step, the right decision rises naturally, without strain. Pressure blinds, calm opens, pleading confuses, assurance clarifies. True force is not the effort of the outer self, but the alignment of the inner with the divine. To plead is to act as though separated, but assurance knows union. In union, there is no question of whether the infinite will respond, for response is automatic. Just as the law of gravity does not need persuasion to act, the law of spirit does not require begging. It acts instantly, unfailingly, upon the word of faith. Calm assurance speaks that word and leaves it, knowing the law has already obeyed. This assurance is not passive. It is active in its certainty, vibrant in its quietness, filled with life in its stillness. It is not indifference, for indifference has no creative power. Assurance is engaged, but without strain. It is steady focus without struggle, a channel through which the infinite flows unhindered. It is the power of the river that moves mountains, not by violence, but by constancy. It is the authority of the sun that warms the earth, not by pressure, but by shining. Assurance carries that same nature, steady, quiet, irresistible. The one who masters calm assurance becomes a true commander of circumstances. While others wear themselves with worry and effort, he speaks a word and holds his peace, knowing it is done. While others try to push doors open, he walks calmly until the door swings wide before him. His force is not in the energy of struggle, but in the stillness of certainty. This stillness is his fortress, his atmosphere, his magnet. It gathers the unseen forces of spirit and directs them with precision. The outer world bends because the inner world stands firm. When one worries, one gives energy to the very shadow one wishes to escape. Worry paints pictures of loss, of lack, of sickness, and these pictures impress themselves upon the creative substance of spirit. The soil accepts them as seeds and begins to bring them forth. For it does not discriminate between faith and fear. Both are forms of belief, and both bear fruit after their kind. This is why many who worry constantly find their fears realized, for worry is a negative certainty, a conviction that the undesirable must surely come. Spirit answers conviction, whether for good or for ill. Certainty, however, plants a different seed. It speaks in alignment with the infinite, affirming that what is desired already exists in the unseen, waiting to appear. Certainty does not ask when or how, for it knows the process is already complete. It does not waver with appearances, for appearances are but shadows, delayed reflections of the invisible reality. Certainty sees beyond the surface into the realm where all things are finished. It speaks from that place. And because it speaks from completion, the law brings completion into the visible. Think of a builder who lays the foundation of a house. He is not anxious about whether the walls will rise, for he has the plan and the materials at hand. He knows the end from the beginning. In the same way, certainty rests in the unseen plan, the divine blueprint already established. Worry, on the other hand, is like a builder who doubts the foundation, who questions every brick, who fears collapse at every step. Such a builder never finishes his work, for his fear paralyzes him. Certainty builds steadily, and the house stands. Certainty is not arrogance. It does not boast, it does not force others to agree. It is quiet and inward, a steady flame that cannot be extinguished. It is the confidence of alignment with law. Just as one who steps into a boat trusts that the river will carry him, so one who speaks in certainty trusts the flow of spirit. The river does not need to be persuaded, it flows of its own accord. The law does not need to be begged, it operates without fail. Certainty simply places itself in harmony with that flow, and manifestation follows as naturally as the sunrise. Worry scatters the mind. It imagines 1,000 outcomes, none of them desired. It ties energy into knots, leaving the soul weary and the body heavy. Certainty gathers energy. It focuses thought in one direction, making it sharp, powerful, irresistible. A single arrow of certainty reaches the target, while a cloud of worries drifts aimlessly and never lands. This is why certainty creates results with less effort. It channels the full current of spirit through a single conviction, while worry diffuses it in every direction. Certainty also creates an atmosphere that others can feel. A worried person spreads heaviness, their words and presence radiate unease. But one who stands in certainty carries peace. Their calmness lifts others, their assurance inspires faith, their words carry weight. Opportunities are drawn to them, doors open, circumstances align, because the vibration of certainty attracts order. Worry attracts confusion. Certainty attracts clarity. Worry repels good, certainty magnetizes it. To cultivate certainty, one must first master the inner word. The tongue often betrays the heart, speaking worry aloud and planting seeds of doubt. Discipline is needed, for each worried phrase released into the atmosphere strengthens the weeds of fear. Silence is better than worry spoken. And beyond silence, affirmations of certainty must be planted, words that declare the unseen as already visible, words that affirm the supply as already present, words that speak healing as already accomplished. These words, repeated with conviction, reshape the inner field until certainty becomes natural. Certainty is strengthened by remembrance. To look back upon past deliverances, upon former answers, is to remind the heart that spirit has never failed. Each remembrance builds another stone in the foundation of confidence. Worry forgets, but certainty remembers. Worry magnifies what is lacking, but certainty magnifies what has been given. The one who trains the mind to remember the good strengthens the habit of faith, and certainty grows until it becomes the dominant tone of the soul. There is a rhythm to certainty. It does not rush. It does not panic. It knows that everything comes in its appointed season. The farmer does not worry when the seed lies unseen in the ground. He knows the process is working. Certainty walks with that same rhythm. It speaks, it sows, and then it rests, knowing the soil of spirit is faithful. Worry digs up the seed to check its progress, disturbing the process. Certainty trusts the unseen and waits with peace until the harvest rises. When appearances seem most contrary, when the storm rages, when the field looks barren, that is the very moment certainty must be held fast. Worry collapses under pressure, but certainty grows stronger. It says, "Though I do not yet see it, it is already done." It holds to the invisible reality until the visible aligns with it. This steadfastness is the true test of faith. The one who clings to certainty in the dark proves himself ready for the light. Certainty carries creative authority. It is not passive. It commands the unseen to take form. Worry pleads, but certainty decrees. Worry asks whether, but certainty says it is. This tone of finality is what the law of spirit answers. The decree spoken in certainty sets the invisible in motion, rearranging circumstances, drawing people, opening paths, dissolving obstacles. The decree spoken in worry carries no weight, for it vibrates with doubt, and the law is not compelled by doubt. This is why the calm statement of assurance has such power. It is not merely words, but words clothed in certainty. The vibration behind them is unshaken, and the unseen moves to match it. When certainty is established within, the outer world must conform. It has no choice, for the unseen always precedes the seen, and certainty anchors the unseen into form. Every word we speak is a seed, and every seed holds the promise of a harvest. The tongue is not idle, it is the sculptor of our destiny, the brush that paints the canvas of our life. Words are not mere sounds carried by air, they are living currents of creative energy. Spoken with conviction, they become commands to the unseen forces that govern our affairs. Whispered with faith, they summon opportunities, open doors, and magnetize supply from the most unexpected directions. Truly, the word is our wand, and with it we write the script of prosperity or poverty, joy or lack. When one understands the power hidden in the spoken word, life ceases to be a matter of chance and begins to reveal itself as a matter of choice. The universe listens. It bends and shapes itself according to the tone of our declarations. Say, "I cannot afford," and the universe nods in agreement, closing the avenues of wealth. Say, "I am divinely provided for in every way," and invisible forces move to fill your cup until it overflows. What you speak today is the harvest you will gather tomorrow. The mind is the soil, the word is the seed. Faith is the sunlight that calls forth the growth. Riches are not merely piles of gold or the possession of material things. They are the fullness of life, the freedom to express, to create, to share, and to rejoice. When you hold to words of lack, you invite shadows. When you affirm words of abundance, you awaken light. It is not circumstance that rules you, but the continual stream of words you release. Many seek prosperity by toil alone, thinking riches are born from sweat and struggle. Yet countless toil and remain empty-handed. Why? Because their words betray them. They speak of fear, of shortage, of endless difficulty, and so they chain themselves to the very conditions they dread. The outer world is but a mirror reflecting the inner decree. Change the decree, and the mirror cannot help but change with it. The secret lies in wielding the word as a wand, not casually, not carelessly, but with reverence and precision. Each declaration is a command to substance, a call to the invisible storehouse of supply. Speak with certainty, "I walk in a world of opulence," and all that is mine by divine right now comes to me with speed and ease. Such words do not fall empty, for they are clothed in the authority of truth. Life rushes to obey them, so let the lips become the channel of riches, not ruin. Let the tongue utter blessings, not curses. Let speech be guarded, for it is the bridge between the unseen and the seen. The key to attracting wealth lies not in struggle, but in the mastery of the word. Words are not idle sounds drifting into the air, they are seeds charged with the vitality of life itself. Every word carries weight, tone, and vibration, and each vibration sets in motion a stream of unseen activity that goes forth and returns multiplied. To one who understands this, speech becomes sacred, deliberate, and creative. A careless word is not without consequence, and a word spoken with faith and clarity is never without effect. The ancient teaching has always declared that in the beginning was the Word, for the Word is the first movement of creation. Nothing takes form without first being spoken, whispered, or declared in consciousness. When we say that words are living currents of creative energy that shape destiny, we affirm that the invisible molds of our future are constantly being cast through the medium of language. Think for a moment about the utterances of daily life, those casual phrases that slip past the lips without notice. I am always unlucky. Money never stays with me. I can't do this. It's too hard. Each of these statements is a decree, a command issued to the forces of creation. The mind, hearing them, begins to build experiences to match. The subconscious does not argue, it obeys. The universe does not resist, it reflects. Such words, though spoken without thought, take root in the fertile soil of the inner life, and in time, the harvest appears in the outer world. We become the authors of our own difficulties, not because life is cruel, but because we misuse the living currents that flow through us as speech. Now consider the opposite. I walk in a universe of supply. Every day brings me closer to my highest good. My words open doors no man can shut. I am guided, guarded, and prospered in all that I do. These utterances are also seeds, but they are charged with light, charged with faith, charged with expectancy. When released, they stir currents in the unseen realm. They summon ideas, opportunities, and circumstances aligned with their vibration. What was once closed begins to open. What was once hidden begins to appear. What was once delayed begins to move swiftly toward fulfillment. Words set these movements into action, and words sustain them until manifestation is complete. Destiny is not a fixed stone path laid down long before birth. Destiny is a garden, and we are planting it every hour. If weeds appear, it is because seeds of doubt, fear, or complaint were allowed to fall upon the ground. If blossoms of wealth and joy arise, it is because words of faith, courage, and expectancy were sown. No gardener can reap roses from nettles, nor figs from thistles. Likewise, no one can reap abundance from a language of poverty, or joy from a tongue that continually speaks of sorrow. Every word is a seed, and every seed contains within it a harvest of its own kind. Consider how even the simplest utterance can alter the course of events. A word of encouragement spoken to oneself in a moment of doubt can rekindle strength and allow success where failure seemed certain. A declaration of health repeated daily can shift the body's response, awakening dormant vitality and summoning the forces of healing. A spoken blessing over one's work can draw opportunities that seemed far beyond reach. These are not fantasies but demonstrations of the fact that words are alive, words are dynamic, and words are creative. The spoken word is the link between thought and form, the bridge by which invisible ideas cross into visible expression. It is not only the words we speak aloud that shape our path, but also the silent words of inner dialogue. The continual stream of thought, murmured quietly within, acts as a constant decree. Many guard their speech in public, but in the secrecy of the mind they repeat words of fear, failure, and limitation. The subconscious makes no distinction between the loud voice and the silent one. Both are creative, both carry power, both shape destiny. Therefore, it is not enough to speak affirmations in the morning and spend the rest of the day muttering words of complaint within. The entire current of thought and language must be brought into alignment with the truth of abundance and the expectancy of good. If one desires to see the true measure of this principle, let them observe how words influence even the smallest affairs. A person who constantly declares that time is short finds themselves always hurried, always pressed, always without enough hours. Another who affirms that time serves them well discovers that tasks fit smoothly, opportunities arrive on schedule, and delays are transformed into blessings. The difference is not in the clock but in the decree. Words shape the experience of time as surely as they shape the flow of wealth, health, or opportunity. There is a subtle power in words because they do not stop at the ears. Words penetrate. They enter the atmosphere of thought and set vibrations moving. They travel outward into the unseen and return carrying the forms they have called. They also travel inward, imprinting the subconscious, which acts as a faithful servant, directing body, mind, and circumstances to fulfill the command. When one declares with certainty, "I prosper in all my ways," that declaration travels both outward and inward, creating a resonance that attracts prosperity from without while training the inner faculties to recognize and seize it. There is no word without effect. Words spoken in anger, though forgotten by the speaker, still reverberate and return with their fruit. Words spoken in love, even softly and briefly, continue to expand and bless long after the moment has passed. The creative current within words cannot be extinguished once released. They go forth, and they accomplish according to their kind. This is why discipline of speech is essential, for without discipline, the wand of creation waves wildly, calling forth both weeds and flowers, both shadows and light. To live with the awareness that words are living currents is to stand at the threshold of mastery. One begins to listen before speaking, to weigh each phrase as if it were a coin spent in the marketplace of life. One chooses words of faith, of abundance, of joy, knowing that these words are not wasted breath but living decrees. One abandons idle chatter of lack or misfortune, for such words are not harmless, but seeds that grow into conditions we may later regret. Each utterance becomes intentional, each statement aligned with the vision of the life one seeks to manifest. The universe is not deaf, nor is it indifferent to the language of its children. Every utterance is heard, every vibration acknowledged, and every declaration answered in kind. There exists a great law of correspondence, a law that mirrors back to us the very substance of what we speak. When we say, "I am not able," the universe confirms our limitation. When we declare, "I have all I need supplied by divine right," the universe unfolds new channels to prove us correct. Words are not lost in space. They are living messages carried upon the ether, returning to us clothed in form. The universe is like an unfailing echo, repeating what has been spoken, magnified and multiplied. Observe how people speak of themselves and their affairs. One says, "I never get a fair chance." Another insists, "I am always struggling." A third claims, "There is never enough." These declarations, spoken often, become living molds that the universe rushes to fill. Circumstances rise up to prove the words true. Doors remain closed, opportunities slip away, and lack continues to haunt the path. It is not that life has chosen them for misfortune, but that their words have chosen misfortune for them. The universe is obedient, impartial, and exacting. It does not discriminate between positive and negative, between wealth and want. It only reflects. It only gives back what is spoken with the weight of belief. Now listen to the one who speaks differently. "Everything I need flows to me in perfect timing. All that belongs to me by divine right is making its way into my hands. I am favored, blessed, and prospered in all that I do." These are not idle words, but powerful decrees. The universe bends in their direction, opening doors that were closed, bringing allies into place, making crooked paths straight. Opportunities that seemed distant suddenly appear, and resources that seemed impossible to secure come forth with ease. What is the difference? It is not talent alone, nor circumstance, but the vibration of words. One tongue sows lack, and lack appears. Another tongue sows abundance, and abundance flows. The universe listens not only to what is said once, but to what is repeated, sustained, and charged with emotion. A single declaration of good may begin the movement, but continual declarations build momentum. Just as water wears away stone through persistence, so do spoken affirmations carve channels in the unseen, creating wide rivers of supply that can no longer be hindered. The universe responds to the steady music of words, aligning events, people, and opportunities to the tune that is sung. If the song is one of scarcity, scarcity becomes the reality. If the song is one of plenty, plenty becomes inevitable. There is a subtle truth in how the universe hears us. It does not attend merely to the words spoken with lips, but to the tone of belief that underlies them. To say, "I am rich," while secretly doubting, produces little, for the echo returned carries the vibration of doubt. But to say, "I am provided for," with full faith, with assurance, with expectancy, is to release a command that the universe cannot ignore. The words become clothed with power. They are no longer empty phrases but carriers of conviction, and conviction is the signal that moves the unseen into action. Consider the farmer casting seed upon the ground. He does not cast once and abandon the field, nor does he doubt the soil's capacity to yield. He casts daily, he waters faithfully, and he knows that in time the earth must return what has been planted. So it is with words. They are the seeds of destiny, and the universe is the soil that can never refuse them. If one plants weeds, weeds grow. If one plants wheat, wheat grows. The soil makes no judgment, it simply obeys. And so does the universe. It does not argue with us, it does not resist us, it does not deny us. It agrees with our speech, and it gives us the harvest of our declarations. Every complaint is a prayer, every statement of fear a request, every utterance a form of agreement with the forces of creation. To say, "I cannot find work," is to command that opportunities remain hidden. To declare, "I am always unlucky," is to instruct life to arrange itself according to misfortune. And yet, the power lies ever in the speaker's hands. Change the words, and the response of the universe must also change. Say instead, "I walk into the perfect work prepared for me," and soon the current shifts. Say, "I am guided into favorable conditions," and conditions rearrange themselves to obey. It is impossible to separate speech from destiny, for destiny is written on the current of words. The tongue holds the power of life and death, not in a metaphorical sense, but in a literal law of creation. Words are seeds, words are commands, words are decrees. They travel into the unseen, find their kind, and return to the one who sent them. The universe listens with precision, and what it hears it delivers. Those who have trained themselves to guard speech become masters of circumstance. They do not allow careless chatter of misfortune to pass their lips, for they know that every careless phrase is a seed planted. They speak as creators, deliberate and purposeful, knowing that the universe attends every syllable. They affirm only that which they desire to see made manifest, and because of this discipline, their lives unfold in harmony and abundance. The undisciplined tongue scatters weeds and roses alike, and the undisciplined life reaps both. But the disciplined speaker sows only roses, and the universe, ever obedient, returns roses in abundance. Even the smallest phrases hold power. To continually say, "I am tired," is to summon weariness. To declare, "I cannot remember," is to instruct the mind to forget. To insist, "I am clumsy," is to train the body into awkwardness. On the other hand, to affirm, "I am strong," calls forth strength. To declare, "I remember with clarity," awakens the faculties of memory. To affirm, "I move with grace," trains the body into ease. The universe listens even to these small decrees, and life reshapes itself according to their vibration. The law is impartial, exact, and unchanging. It is not affected by who speaks, but by what is spoken. The wealthy and the poor, the strong and the weak, the favored and the forgotten, all alike are subject to the response of the universe to their words. No one is exempt, and no one is excluded. It is a law that governs alike the king and the beggar, the sage and the fool. Words go forth, and the universe echoes them back in form. Many believe that prosperity is the result of endless toil, of laboring day and night, of pushing against circumstances until doors finally break open. They imagine that riches are wrestled from life by sheer force, that the sweat of the brow alone is the price of abundance. Yet how often do we see those who work without ceasing, who strive with all their might, yet remain in want? Their days are filled with effort, yet their hands return empty. The missing key is not effort, but the words that proceed from their mouths. For words of lack, spoken in the midst of work, poison the harvest before it can ripen. Words of fear undo the very labor the hands have built. It is not toil that creates prosperity. It is the language of abundance carried on the breath of faith. A farmer may till the soil from dawn to dusk, but if he sows only weeds, he cannot expect a crop of wheat. Likewise, one may labor with great diligence, but if the tongue is continually uttering phrases of defeat and shortage, the result will reflect the words, not the effort. To say, "It will never be enough," while working with all strength, is to decree lack into existence. To complain, "I will always struggle," even while sowing seeds of effort, is to bind oneself to struggle. The universe does not reward effort alone, it rewards effort aligned with speech that declares abundance. Prosperity flows first from the unseen, then into the seen. Work without the right words is like planting without sunlight, it remains barren. Words of abundance act as the light that awakens the hidden seed of prosperity. When one speaks with confidence, "I prosper in everything I do," every task begins to flourish. When one declares, "All channels of supply are open to me," opportunities appear where none seemed possible. When one affirms, "I work with ease and am richly rewarded," the very labor of the hands is transformed into joy and returns multiplied results. Those who toil without guiding words are like sailors rowing without a compass. They may row with all their strength, but without direction. They drift endlessly. Words are the compass that sets the course, effort is the oar that propels the boat. Both are needed. But without the compass of affirmations, the oar of labor cannot deliver the sailor to the shore of prosperity. Many weary themselves with rowing, unaware that their words continually steer them in circles of lack. The wise understand that every word is a rudder turning the ship of their life, and they choose their speech carefully to point toward abundance. Observe the speech of those who live in plenty. They do not complain of shortage, they affirm supply. They do not speak of endless struggle, they declare ease. They do not say, "I can't afford this." They say, "Every word we speak is a seed, and every seed holds the promise of a harvest." The tongue is not idle, it is the sculptor of our destiny, the brush that paints the canvas of our life. Words are not mere sounds carried by air, they are living currents of creative energy. Spoken with conviction, they become commands to the unseen forces that govern our affairs. Whispered with faith, they summon opportunities, open doors, and magnetize supply from the most unexpected directions. Truly, the word is our wand, and with it we write the script of prosperity or poverty, joy or lack. When one understands the power hidden in the spoken word, life ceases to be a matter of chance and begins to reveal itself as a matter of choice. The universe listens. It bends and shapes itself according to the tone of our declarations. Say, "I cannot afford," and the universe nods in agreement, closing the avenues of wealth. Say, "I am divinely provided for in every way," and invisible forces move to fill your cup until it overflows. What you speak today is the harvest you will gather tomorrow. The mind is the soil, the word is the seed. Faith is the sunlight that calls forth the growth. Riches are not merely piles of gold or the possession of material things. They are the fullness of life, the freedom to express, to create, to share, and to rejoice. When you hold to words of lack, you invite shadows. When you affirm words of abundance, you awaken light. It is not circumstance that rules you, but the continual stream of words you release. Many seek prosperity by toil alone, thinking riches are born from sweat and struggle. Yet countless toil and remain empty-handed. Why? Because their words betray them. They speak of fear, of shortage, of endless difficulty, and so they chain themselves to the very conditions they dread. The outer world is but a mirror reflecting the inner decree. Change the decree, and the mirror cannot help but change with it. The secret lies in wielding the word as a wand, not casually, not carelessly, but with reverence and precision. Each declaration is a command to substance, a call to the invisible storehouse of supply. Speak with certainty. I walk in a world of opulence, and all that is mine by divine right now comes to me with speed and ease. Such words do not fall empty, for they are clothed in the authority of truth. Life rushes to obey them, so let the lips become the channel of riches, not ruin. Let the tongue utter blessings, not curses. Let speech be guarded, for it is the bridge between the unseen and the seen. The key to attracting wealth lies not in struggle, but in the mastery of the word. Words are not idle sounds drifting into the air, they are seeds charged with the vitality of life itself. Every word carries weight, tone, and vibration, and each vibration sets in motion a stream of unseen activity that goes forth and returns multiplied. To one who understands this, speech becomes sacred, deliberate, and creative. A careless word is not without consequence, and a word spoken with faith and clarity is never without effect. The ancient teaching has always declared that in the beginning was the Word, for the Word is the first movement of creation. Nothing takes form without first being spoken, whispered, or declared in consciousness. When we say that words are living currents of creative energy that shape destiny, we affirm that the invisible molds of our future are constantly being cast through the medium of language. Think for a moment about the utterances of daily life, those casual phrases that slip past the lips without notice. I am always unlucky. Money never stays with me. I can't do this. It's too hard. Each of these statements is a decree, a command issued to the forces of creation. The mind, hearing them, begins to build experiences to match. The subconscious does not argue, it obeys. The universe does not resist, it reflects. Such words, though spoken without thought, take root in the fertile soil of the inner life, and in time, the harvest appears in the outer world. We become the authors of our own difficulties, not because life is cruel, but because we misuse the living currents that flow through us as speech. Now consider the opposite. I walk in a universe of supply. Every day brings me closer to my highest good. My words open doors no man can shut. I am guided, guarded, and prospered in all that I do. These utterances are also seeds, but they are charged with light, charged with faith, charged with expectancy. When released, they stir currents in the unseen realm. They summon ideas, opportunities, and circumstances aligned with their vibration. What was once closed begins to open. What was once hidden begins to appear. What was once delayed begins to move swiftly toward fulfillment. Words set these movements into action, and words sustain them until manifestation is complete. Destiny is not a fixed stone path laid down long before birth. Destiny is a garden, and we are planting it every hour. If weeds appear, it is because seeds of doubt, fear, or complaint were allowed to fall upon the ground. If blossoms of wealth and joy arise, it is because words of faith, courage, and expectancy were sown. No gardener can reap roses from nettles, nor figs from thistles. Likewise, no one can reap abundance from a language of poverty, or joy from a tongue that continually speaks of sorrow. Every word is a seed, and every seed contains within it a harvest of its own kind. Consider how even the simplest utterance can alter the course of events. A word of encouragement spoken to oneself in a moment of doubt can rekindle strength and allow success where failure seemed certain. A declaration of health repeated daily can shift the body's response, awakening dormant vitality and summoning the forces of healing. A spoken blessing over one's work can draw opportunities that seemed far beyond reach. These are not fantasies but demonstrations of the fact that words are alive, words are dynamic, and words are creative. The spoken word is the link between thought and form, the bridge by which invisible ideas cross into visible expression. It is not only the words we speak aloud that shape our path, but also the silent words of inner dialogue. The continual stream of thought, murmured quietly within, acts as a constant decree. Many guard their speech in public, but in the secrecy of the mind they repeat words of fear, failure, and limitation. The subconscious makes no distinction between the loud voice and the silent one. Both are creative, both carry power, both shape destiny. Therefore, it is not enough to speak affirmations in the morning and spend the rest of the day muttering words of complaint within. The entire current of thought and language must be brought into alignment with the truth of abundance and the expectancy of good. If one desires to see the true measure of this principle, let them observe how words influence even the smallest affairs. A person who constantly declares that time is short finds themselves always hurried, always pressed, always without enough hours. Another who affirms that time serves them well discovers that tasks fit smoothly, opportunities arrive on schedule, and delays are transformed into blessings. The difference is not in the clock but in the decree. Words shape the experience of time as surely as they shape the flow of wealth, health, or opportunity. There is a subtle power in words because they do not stop at the ears. Words penetrate. They enter the atmosphere of thought and set vibrations moving. They travel outward into the unseen and return carrying the forms they have called. They also travel inward, imprinting the subconscious, which acts as a faithful servant, directing body, mind, and circumstances to fulfill the command. When one declares with certainty, "I prosper in all my ways," that declaration travels both outward and inward, creating a resonance that attracts prosperity from without while training the inner faculties to recognize and seize it. There is no word without effect. Words spoken in anger, though forgotten by the speaker, still reverberate and return with their fruit. Words spoken in love, even softly and briefly, continue to expand and bless long after the moment has passed. The creative current within words cannot be extinguished once released. They go forth, and they accomplish according to their kind. This is why discipline of speech is essential, for without discipline, the wand of creation waves wildly, calling forth both weeds and flowers, both shadows and light. To live with the awareness that words are living currents is to stand at the threshold of mastery. One begins to listen before speaking, to weigh each phrase as if it were a coin spent in the marketplace of life. One chooses words of faith, of abundance, of joy, knowing that these words are not wasted breath but living decrees. One abandons idle chatter of lack or misfortune, for such words are not harmless, but seeds that grow into conditions we may later regret. Each utterance becomes intentional, each statement aligned with the vision of the life one seeks to manifest. The universe is not deaf, nor is it indifferent to the language of its children. Every utterance is heard, every vibration acknowledged, and every declaration answered in kind. There exists a great law of correspondence, a law that mirrors back to us the very substance of what we speak. When we say, "I am not able," the universe confirms our limitation. When we declare, "I have all I need supplied by divine right," the universe unfolds new channels to prove us correct. Words are not lost in space. They are living messages carried upon the ether, returning to us clothed in form. The universe is like an unfailing echo, repeating what has been spoken, magnified and multiplied. Observe how people speak of themselves and their affairs. One says, "I never get a fair chance." Another insists, "I am always struggling." A third claims, "There is never enough." These declarations, spoken often, become living molds that the universe rushes to fill. Circumstances rise up to prove the words true. Doors remain closed, opportunities slip away, and lack continues to haunt the path. It is not that life has chosen them for misfortune, but that their words have chosen misfortune for them. The universe is obedient, impartial, and exacting. It does not discriminate between positive and negative, between wealth and want. It only reflects. It only gives back what is spoken with the weight of belief. Now listen to the one who speaks differently. "Everything I need flows to me in perfect timing. All that belongs to me by divine right is making its way into my hands. I am favored, blessed, and prospered in all that I do." These are not idle words, but powerful decrees. The universe bends in their direction, opening doors that were closed, bringing allies into place, making crooked paths straight. Opportunities that seemed distant suddenly appear, and resources that seemed impossible to secure come forth with ease. What is the difference? It is not talent alone, nor circumstance, but the vibration of words. One tongue sows lack, and lack appears. Another tongue sows abundance, and abundance flows. The universe listens not only to what is said once, but to what is repeated, sustained, and charged with emotion. A single declaration of good may begin the movement, but continual declarations build momentum. Just as water wears away stone through persistence, so do spoken affirmations carve channels in the unseen, creating wide rivers of supply that can no longer be hindered. The universe responds to the steady music of words, aligning events, people, and opportunities to the tune that is sung. If the song is one of scarcity, scarcity becomes the reality. If the song is one of plenty, plenty becomes inevitable. There is a subtle truth in how the universe hears us. It does not attend merely to the words spoken with lips, but to the tone of belief that underlies them. To say, "I am rich," while secretly doubting, produces little, for the echo returned carries the vibration of doubt. But to say, "I am provided for," with full faith, with assurance, with expectancy, is to release a command that the universe cannot ignore. The words become clothed with power. They are no longer empty phrases but carriers of conviction, and conviction is the signal that moves the unseen into action. Consider the farmer casting seed upon the ground. He does not cast once and abandon the field, nor does he doubt the soil's capacity to yield. He casts daily, he waters faithfully, and he knows that in time the earth must return what has been planted. So it is with words. They are the seeds of destiny, and the universe is the soil that can never refuse them. If one plants weeds, weeds grow. If one plants wheat, wheat grows. The soil makes no judgment, it simply obeys. And so does the universe. It does not argue with us, it does not resist us, it does not deny us. It agrees with our speech, and it gives us the harvest of our declarations. Every complaint is a prayer, every statement of fear a request, every utterance a form of agreement with the forces of creation. To say, "I cannot find work," is to command that opportunities remain hidden. To declare, "I am always unlucky," is to instruct life to arrange itself according to misfortune. And yet, the power lies ever in the speaker's hands. Change the words, and the response of the universe must also change. Say instead, "I walk into the perfect work prepared for me," and soon the current shifts. Say, "I am guided into favorable conditions," and conditions rearrange themselves to obey. It is impossible to separate speech from destiny, for destiny is written on the current of words. The tongue holds the power of life and death, not in a metaphorical sense, but in a literal law of creation. Words are seeds, words are commands, words are decrees. They travel into the unseen, find their kind, and return to the one who sent them. The universe listens with precision, and what it hears it delivers. Those who have trained themselves to guard speech become masters of circumstance. They do not allow careless chatter of misfortune to pass their lips, for they know that every careless phrase is a seed planted. They speak as creators, deliberate and purposeful, knowing that the universe attends every syllable. They affirm only that which they desire to see made manifest, and because of this discipline, their lives unfold in harmony and abundance. The undisciplined tongue scatters weeds and roses alike, and the undisciplined life reaps both. But the disciplined speaker sows only roses, and the universe, ever obedient, returns roses in abundance. Even the smallest phrases hold power. To continually say, "I am tired," is to summon weariness. To declare, "I cannot remember," is to instruct the mind to forget. To insist, "I am clumsy," is to train the body into awkwardness. On the other hand, to affirm, "I am strong," calls forth strength. To declare, "I remember with clarity," awakens the faculties of memory. To affirm, "I move with grace," trains the body into ease. The universe listens even to these small decrees, and life reshapes itself according to their vibration. The law is impartial, exact, and unchanging. It is not affected by who speaks, but by what is spoken. The wealthy and the poor, the strong and the weak, the favored and the forgotten, all alike are subject to the response of the universe to their words. No one is exempt, and no one is excluded. It is a law that governs alike the king and the beggar, the sage and the fool. Words go forth, and the universe echoes them back in form. Many believe that prosperity is the result of endless toil, of laboring day and night, of pushing against circumstances until doors finally break open. They imagine that riches are wrestled from life by sheer force, that the sweat of the brow alone is the price of abundance. Yet how often do we see those who work without ceasing, who strive with all their might, yet remain in want? Their days are filled with effort, yet their hands return empty. The missing key is not effort, but the words that proceed from their mouths. For words of lack, spoken in the midst of work, poison the harvest before it can ripen. Words of fear undo the very labor the hands have built. It is not toil that creates prosperity. It is the language of abundance carried on the breath of faith. A farmer may till the soil from dawn to dusk, but if he sows only weeds, he cannot expect a crop of wheat. Likewise, one may labor with great diligence, but if the tongue is continually uttering phrases of defeat and shortage, the result will reflect the words, not the effort. To say, "It will never be enough," while working with all strength, is to decree lack into existence. To complain, "I will always struggle," even while sowing seeds of effort, is to bind oneself to struggle. The universe does not reward effort alone, it rewards effort aligned with speech that declares abundance. Prosperity flows first from the unseen, then into the seen. Work without the right words is like planting without sunlight, it remains barren. Words of abundance act as the light that awakens the hidden seed of prosperity. When one speaks with confidence, "I prosper in everything I do," every task begins to flourish. When one declares, "All channels of supply are open to me," opportunities appear where none seemed possible. When one affirms, "I work with ease and am richly rewarded," the very labor of the hands is transformed into joy and returns multiplied results. Those who toil without guiding words are like sailors rowing without a compass. They may row with all their strength, but without direction. They drift endlessly. Words are the compass that sets the course, effort is the oar that propels the boat. Both are needed. But without the compass of affirmations, the oar of labor cannot deliver the sailor to the shore of prosperity. Many weary themselves with rowing, unaware that their words continually steer them in circles of lack. The wise understand that every word is a rudder turning the ship of their life, and they choose their speech carefully to point toward abundance. Observe the speech of those who live in plenty. They do not complain of shortage, they affirm supply. They do not speak of endless struggle, they declare ease. They do not say, "I can't afford this." They say, "Everything I need comes to me in perfect timing." Their words and their work move in harmony, and this harmony opens the gates of wealth. They labor? Yes, but they labor in the vibration of abundance, and so their labor is blessed. Their efforts, however small, yield large returns. For the language of prosperity draws multiplication from the universe. Prosperity cannot be forced through struggle, for struggle itself is a declaration. To say, "I must fight for every coin," is to bind oneself to fight. To say, "Nothing comes easily," is to decree difficulty in every direction. The mind, hearing these words, sets about creating conditions to prove them true. The subconscious, faithful to the commands of the tongue, sabotages ease and multiplies obstacles. But to speak, "Riches flow to me freely," releases a different command. The subconscious aligns with ease, and circumstances arrange themselves to provide smooth paths. Life bends toward the decree, and abundance becomes effortless. Even in work, it is not the heaviness of effort that matters but the spirit carried in words. One may spend an hour in labor while affirming, "This work is blessed, and it prospers me greatly." And that hour may yield more than another man's week of toil spoken under the curse of complaint. The weight of effort does not determine the harvest, the vibration of speech does. For speech calls forth invisible allies. unseen currents that multiply results beyond what hands alone could achieve. It is a deception to think that money and supply come from effort alone. If this were true, the hardest workers in the world would be the richest. Yet many who strain endlessly live in scarcity, while others, who speak words of abundance, attract wealth with less labor. The difference lies not in merit, but in the power of the spoken decree. Prosperity flows from words first, then manifests through channels that may include labor. But labor without affirmations is like a stream cut off from its source. The stream dries up, no matter how much the man at the riverbank digs. Consider the shopkeeper who rises daily with the declaration, "Every person who enters this shop brings blessings, and I am prospered by divine supply." His business thrives, not only because of his wares, but because his words magnetize customers and opportunities. Compare him with another who mutters, "Business is always slow, people never buy, nothing ever works for me." Though he works as long and as hard, his words repel the very prosperity he seeks. The universe listens, and it obeys. Words of abundance do not only attract money, they transform the very experience of work. A labor that once seemed heavy becomes light when blessed by affirmations. A task that seemed meaningless reveals hidden reward when spoken over with gratitude and expectancy. Even the simplest duty prospers when words of increase accompany it. The worker no longer labors as a slave to circumstance, but as a co-creator with life itself, speaking riches into existence with every phrase. The mistake of many is believing that toil is the source of wealth. Toil is only the channel, words are the source. The channel can be dug wider or deeper, but if no current flows into it, it remains empty. Words of abundance summon the current. They call forth the flow that fills the channel of labor with substance. One who works without affirmations digs canals that remain dry. One who speaks words of supply finds that even small channels overflow. The law is simple: speech sets the vibration, effort gives it form. When speech is in harmony with abundance, effort multiplies. When speech is filled with lack, effort diminishes. Words are the true fountain of prosperity. Labor is the vessel. The vessel without the fountain remains empty, but the vessel connected to the fountain overflows. The spoken word is not a mere sound that vanishes once uttered. It is a wand, a living instrument of command, a channel through which unseen substance is directed into visible form. When one understands this truth, every utterance becomes sacred, for each syllable is a decree sent forth to summon conditions, events, and experiences. The careless speak without awareness, and wonder why their lives seem bound to difficulty. Yet the wise recognize that each word carries the power of a spell, shaping reality according to its vibration. The word is the wand, and with precision it can summon prosperity from the storehouse of the infinite. To speak with certainty is to wield the wand with strength. A vague statement carries little power, but a precise declaration strikes directly at the substance of creation. When one affirms with clarity, "I walk in a world of opulence, and all that is mine by divine right comes to me," the wand has been lifted, and the invisible begins to move. The forces that govern supply take the command and begin their arrangement. People, opportunities, and circumstances shift in obedience to the utterance. The words spoken are not wasted breath, they are currents of creative energy, vibrating through the ether, clothed in authority, and destined to return with fulfillment. Every declaration is a command to substance. When one says, "I am always poor," that phrase is a command, and substance obeys by withholding riches. When one says, "I cannot succeed," that is also a command, and life arranges itself to confirm the decree. Yet when one dares to speak differently, "I am divinely prospered in every way," the command goes forth into the unseen, summoning new channels of wealth, new paths of success, new opportunities where none appeared before. The wand has no power of its own apart from the words that direct it, but when words are spoken in faith, the wand creates with unfailing precision. It is not enough to think abundance. The thought must be clothed in sound, for thought alone is like a spark, while speech is like the flame. The spark may glow silently, but the flame spreads, moves, and transforms. Words spoken aloud carry vibration beyond the self. They travel outward and stir currents in the unseen realm. To think, I prosper, begins the process, but to say, I prosper in everything I do, ignites the power, calls forth the energy, and sets in motion the law of manifestation. Speech is the wand in action, drawing invisible substance into visible form. Those who understand this law speak as creators, not as beggars. They do not plead for supply, for pleading acknowledges lack. Instead, they command with authority, declaring that which they know is already theirs by right. To say, wealth flows to me freely, is not a wish but a command, not a hope but a decree. The universe does not resist such words, for they are spoken in alignment with truth, and truth always finds expression. The wand does not falter when lifted with conviction. It acts with exactness, summoning riches from the unseen to the seen. Precision of language is vital. A vague phrase such as, I want more money, produces little, for it acknowledges wanting, and wanting only multiplies itself. But a statement such as, I am supplied with all that I require, quickly and abundantly, carries weight, it carries authority, it speaks from the position of having, not from the shadow of lack. The universe responds to certainty, not to wavering. The wand obeys the clarity of the command, not the confusion of doubt. The one who speaks with firmness finds their words swiftly clothed in form, while the one who hesitates receives little. For hesitation creates no clear image to be obeyed. The wand of the word does not operate in isolation from faith. Words spoken without faith are empty. They scatter like chaff in the wind. But words spoken with inner conviction are seeds planted in fertile soil. The inner belief clothes the words with substance, giving them life. When one says, I am guided into prosperity, and believes it with the whole heart, that phrase becomes a living decree. Invisible powers stir to fulfill it. Events align, opportunities appear. The wand has been raised with certainty, and certainty always brings manifestation. Many labor under the belief that words are insignificant, that only action counts. But they do not see that words themselves are actions of the highest order. The movement of the tongue is the movement of creation. A phrase uttered in faith carries more power than days of effort without affirmation. For effort without the wand of words is blind, but words direct effort, multiplying it, blessing it, transforming it into prosperity. The worker who speaks blessings over their labor reaps greater results than one who labors without utterance. The merchant who declares prosperity over their business draws more customers than one who relies only on advertising. The word is the wand, and without it labor is empty. To wield the word as a wand is to understand the responsibility of speech. Idle chatter of lack or fear is no small matter. It is misuse of the wand, a careless casting of spells that return with unpleasant fruit. To continually say, it never works out, is to cast a spell against one's own prosperity. To repeat, I am always unlucky, is to wield the wand toward misfortune. Every phrase carries power, whether spoken consciously or unconsciously. The wise therefore guard their tongue, releasing only those words they wish to see clothed in form. The spoken word is also a shield. To declare, nothing and no one can hinder the riches that are mine by divine right, is to wield the wand as a defense. Obstacles melt before such a decree. Conditions that seemed immovable shift under its power. The spoken word not only calls forth riches, but clears the path for them to arrive. With one phrase barriers dissolve, and the way is made plain. The wand does not only summon, it protects, guides, and clears. The key is constancy. One must lift the wand daily, not once and then forget, but again and again, until the air vibrates with the certainty of the decree. Each repetition strengthens the command, driving it deeper into the subconscious, carrying it farther into the unseen. Just as the sculptor strikes the stone again and again until the form emerges, so must words be spoken until the form of prosperity appears. It is not vain repetition, but purposeful command, each phrase shaping substance, each utterance directing power. To speak prosperity is to command prosperity, and to command prosperity is to create it. The wand of the word does not tire, it does not weaken, it does not fail. It obeys without question, it summons without hesitation, it creates without limit. Words spoken with precision and faith are the true instruments of wealth. Labor may move matter, but words move the unseen forces that govern matter. Words are the wand, and the wand obeys the hand that lifts it with authority. Guarded speech is the doorway through which riches enter life. To guard one's words is to stand watch at the threshold of creation, choosing carefully which decrees are permitted to pass into the unseen. For every utterance is a bridge, carrying thought into form, shaping the substance of destiny. Words spoken without care are like gates thrown open to thieves, allowing poverty and confusion to slip in unchallenged. Words spoken with faith and purpose are like gates that admit only guests of honor, only the treasures of abundance, only the blessings that enrich and uplift. To understand this is to hold the key to the visible expression of wealth. For guarded, faith-filled speech is the very bridge by which unseen riches cross into the world of matter. Every day the tongue moves ceaselessly, and with each phrase something is set in motion. One speaks of shortage, and shortage appears. Another speaks of delay, and delay rises up to block the way. Still another declares, "Nothing works out for me." And the universe, ever obedient, arranges circumstances to reflect the decree. Most do not realize that their lives are filled not with accidents, but with the echoes of their own words. They curse themselves without knowing, sowing seeds of failure with casual phrases, then wondering why the harvest is bitter. To guard speech is to put an end to this carelessness, to refuse the utterance of anything one does not wish to see made flesh. Faith-filled speech is more than positive talk, it is the vibration of certainty expressed in sound. Words spoken in fear carry no power to bless, for the tone of fear is the true command the universe obeys. But words spoken in faith are clothed with life, and life rushes to obey. To say, "I am provided for in every way," with conviction, is to build a bridge so strong that no force of doubt can collapse it. Supply travels across that bridge, opportunities cross it, divine provision marches over it, until it stands visible in the world of form. Without such words, the riches of the unseen remain distant, shimmering but unreachable. With such words, they step across into the life of the speaker. Speech is not only a bridge for wealth, it is also a guard at the gate. When one refuses to speak of failure, the gate is closed to failure. When one declines to complain of lack, the gate is shut against lack. When one turns aside idle chatter of misfortune, the gate is locked to misfortune. The mouth becomes a sentinel, allowing only the language of prosperity to pass, and by this vigilance, the world reshapes itself. Words of blessing invite blessing, words of praise invite increase, words of gratitude summon multiplication. Guarded speech is not repression. It is selection. It is not silence born of fear, but speech born of wisdom. There is a sacred responsibility in words, for each one is a seed that cannot be recalled once sown. The careless say, "It doesn't matter what I say," but their lives bear witness to the truth that it matters greatly. The seeds of yesterday's speech are the fruits of today's conditions. If the harvest is bitter, it is because bitter words were planted. If the harvest is sweet, it is because sweet words were chosen. Guarding speech means sowing with foresight, planting only what one wishes to reap, never scattering seeds of doubt, fear, or complaint. Faith-filled words create bridges where none seem possible. In the desert of apparent lack, a single declaration can open a path to flowing rivers. When one says, "The supply I need now appears," and speaks it not as wish but as fact, unseen forces move at once to fulfill the decree. Opportunities are drawn forth from hidden places, channels open, doors swing wide. The bridge has been laid, and riches cross it. Without such words one wanders the desert, working and striving but never finding water. With such words, the oasis appears and abundance becomes visible. Guarded speech also transforms inner life. The thoughts of the heart are constantly seeking expression through the lips. When one disciplines the tongue, the mind begins to follow, reshaping itself according to the new standard. Speak enough of abundance, and the inner dialogue of lack begins to dissolve. Declare often that life blesses and prospers you, and soon even the silent whispers of doubt grow faint. Guarding words trains the mind into alignment. And when mind and mouth agree in faith, the bridge becomes indestructible. The bridge of speech is not built by a single phrase, but by the continual stream of declarations. Each affirmation is a plank laid down, each word of faith another stone set in place. Over time, the bridge grows strong and wide, carrying ever greater riches across. Just as rivers cut canyons by persistence, so does persistent speech carve channels for abundance. One day's declaration may seem to shift little, but continued utterance shapes the whole landscape of life. Faith-filled repetition is not empty, it is construction. Each phrase is a builder's hand, raising the span that connects unseen wealth to visible reality. Guarded speech is not limited to affirmations of prosperity alone, it also forbids negative prophecy. To say "this will never work" is to lay a plank of failure across the bridge, weakening it. To declare "things always go wrong" is to invite collapse. To guard speech is to tear up these planks the moment they appear, replacing them with words of strength, words of victory, words of certainty. This works in my favor. Everything unfolds for my good. I am surrounded by divine order. With such words the bridge remains strong, and no weight of circumstance can break it. Even in the face of visible lack, faith-filled speech sustains the bridge. One may look upon an empty purse and still declare, "My supply is abundant and ever-flowing." One may see a closed door and still affirm, "The right opportunity opens for me now." The guarded tongue does not yield to appearances, it speaks from truth, not from fear. By this discipline, the bridge is held firm until the unseen becomes seen, until the purse fills, until the door swings wide. The lips become the channel through which destiny is written. To guard them is to guard the future. To fill them with faith is to ensure that the future is rich. Words are not idle, they are builders, guards, and bridges. To let them wander is to invite chaos, to discipline them is to invite prosperity. Every phrase is a choice between lack and abundance, between ruin and riches. To choose words of faith is to choose wealth, to choose words of doubt is to choose want. The decision is made each moment the tongue moves, and the universe responds without fail. Life is a game of consciousness, a game in which the invisible laws of mind create the visible substance of experience. Every soul stands at the doorway of divine supply, waiting only for recognition, for faith, for the spoken word that opens the floodgates. The title before us, "Someone Will You Send 100 in Millions 5 Minutes Lift," is not mere chance arrangement of phrases, but a code of spirit, a vibration, a message hidden within paradox. It speaks of instantaneous increase, sudden elevation, and the swift descent of abundance, when thought and word align with infinite intelligence. When we hear of millions appearing in minutes, the rational mind protests, the cautious mind denies, the fearful mind shrinks. Yet the spiritual law is not bound by time, by arithmetic, or by the heavy reasonings of the intellect. Spirit works in sudden ways, with precision, with swiftness, with what appears miraculous to the senses but is natural to the unseen laws. The very idea of 110 millions descending like a lift in 5 minutes is not a promise of figures alone, but a symbol of divine acceleration, proof that what we call delay is but a shadow of our own doubt. To be lifted is to be carried upward, out of the valley of struggle and into the high places of realization. Many live in the basement of thought, where lack, fear, and limitation dwell. Yet there is always an elevator at hand, always the invisible lift waiting to carry us upward at the press of a button. That button is the spoken word, the command of faith, the unwavering declaration that what belongs to me by divine right cannot be withheld. The moment one presses this inner button, the 5 minutes are set into motion, not measured in seconds, but in consciousness. The lift begins to rise, and the wealth of the universe begins its descent into form. We are told, "Ask, believing you have received, and it shall be given unto you." That is the 5-minute mystery, the swift transaction of heaven's economy. Someone, somewhere, is always the instrument through which divine supply flows. The someone in the title is not a person to be begged, but the willing channel of spirit, prepared and appointed by divine order. Spirit needs no coercion, no pleading, only the command of faith spoken with joy. At the appointed moment, the lift descends, the treasure is delivered, and the miracle is complete. The number 110 millions may appear vast, yet spirit makes no distinction between pennies and empires. To infinite mind, a seed and a fortune are equal, both created with the same effortless breath. What matters is not the sum, but the consciousness that calls it forth. 5 minutes is but the symbol of immediacy of the eternal now. All supply lies waiting in the invisible, and when the inner word is spoken, delay vanishes like mist at sunrise. This title, then, is a parable. It is the promise that supply is never far, never slow, never uncertain. It is already here, waiting for the recognition that says, I am lifted, I am supplied, I am aligned with the law of abundance. Divine supply is instantaneous, and the moment one truly grasps this truth, life begins to unfold in ways that the reasoning mind calls impossible. Yet the spiritual law recognizes as inevitable. The world is accustomed to the slow march of effort, to the weary climb of accumulation, to the grinding belief that all things must be earned through toil, anxiety, and time. But in the invisible realm of spirit, supply is never delayed. It does not travel, it does not wait in line, it does not arrive by chance. It is already present, whole, perfect, complete, and awaiting only recognition. The appearance of time is an illusion that human thought weaves to justify its doubts and its fears. The instant the word of faith is spoken, the instant belief replaces hesitation, the instant vision becomes clear, supply is released, and it descends like lightning, swift, exact, and unstoppable. The world operates by contracts, by procedures, by slow-moving wheels of transaction. The soul who knows the law of supply, however, knows that these outer appearances are merely shadows. They are not the cause, they are the effect. The true cause lies within thought, within the spoken word charged with faith. When the consciousness is aligned with divine truth, there is no waiting, no process, no journey. It happens in the eternal now. To spirit, there is no yesterday, no tomorrow, no passage of hours. The divine knows only the immediate presence of good, the fullness of abundance, the overflowing cup that never ceases. Supply, therefore, does not come to us, it is revealed to us. The moment the veil of doubt lifts, the moment the fog of fear clears, the abundance already present is seen, felt and received. To the doubter this seems fanciful. They say, but I have waited years. I have prayed, I have begged, and still nothing comes. Yet begging is not commanding, and hoping is not knowing. Spirit answers not the wavering heart, but the words spoken with authority. The law of supply is exact. Just as water poured into a channel rushes forth the instant the way is opened, so too does divine abundance flow instantly when the channel of consciousness is cleared. It requires no accumulation, no delay, no preparation in the outer world. It flows at once because it was always present. A seed germinates not because the earth suddenly decides to create it, but because the life within was already encoded, waiting for its moment of expression. So too is supply encoded in every soul's divine design, waiting only for the instant when recognition unlocks its storehouse. Consider the symbol of light. The room is dark, heavy with shadows. One need not plead for the sun, one need not wait for the candle to crawl into existence. The simple act of pressing the switch, the act of releasing energy into the circuit, banishes darkness in an instant. So it is with supply. The darkness of lack is not reality, but an absence of recognition. The instant one presses the switch of faith, the instant the declaration is made, supply floods in, and the shadows dissolve. There is no waiting for the light to crawl across the room. It is there the very moment the command is given. When the soul grasps that divine supply is instantaneous, fear loses its power. There is no longer a trembling at the thought of tomorrow, no longer an anxious saving for some distant rescue, no longer a belief in the long delay of good. Instead, there is confidence in the eternal now. This confidence does not lead to carelessness, but to trust. It does not create passivity, but a boldness of spirit, a courage to declare, to act, to step forward without hesitation. One who knows supply is immediate does not stagger when appearances contradict, for appearances are only the smoke of disbelief. Behind the smoke stands the mountain of truth, solid, unmoving, ever present, waiting for the eyes of faith to perceive it. The mind of man is conditioned to believe in preparation, in effort, in the long climb. The spirit within knows only completion. When we align with spirit, we do not climb the mountain step by step, gasping and weary. We are lifted instantly to its summit. This lifting does not come by force or by striving, but by surrender to the law that already is. The law does not ask us to build supply, it asks us to accept it. It does not ask us to chase abundance. It asks us to recognize abundance as our rightful state. The moment recognition is pure, the manifestation appears, and it appears now. There are countless testimonies of sudden provision, of fortunes appearing overnight, of healings that occur in a breath, of transformations that seem impossible by human reason. These are not accidents, not exceptions, but glimpses of the law in action. What is called a miracle is merely the natural law of spirit breaking through the crust of human disbelief. And the miracle always happens in an instant. The waiting, the delay, the slow unfolding, all belong to the mind of man. Spirit knows nothing of them. The moment faith is absolute, the moment word is spoken with certainty, the miracle manifests at once. To live in the consciousness of instantaneous supply is to live free of strain. It is to awaken each day knowing that all that is needed is already at hand, whether it appears visible or not. It is to walk through the world with calm assurance, never grasping, never begging, never fearing, but resting in the certainty that whatever is required, be it wealth, opportunity, wisdom, or health, is released the very moment it is recognized. The very act of recognition, the very act of claiming, is the key that unlocks the invisible vault. And just as a key does not slowly push the door open, but turns at once and releases the lock, so too does faith release supply in a single movement. This is the divine rhythm, immediate, precise, unfailing. The rhythm is not measured by clocks but by consciousness. To those who linger in doubt, the manifestation seems slow. To those who command with faith, it is instant. Time collapses, distance dissolves, and what seemed far away is suddenly here. In this eternal now, there is no waiting for good. There is only the opening of eyes to see what has always been standing before us, radiant, abundant, overflowing, waiting for the word to give it form. The lift of consciousness is the secret doorway through which all abundance enters, and until one steps inside and presses the upward button of faith, life remains confined to the lower floors of struggle, limitation, and fear. Just as a great building has many levels, so does the human mind. On the basement level, thoughts are dark and heavy, filled with doubts, debts, worries, and the ceaseless repetition of lack. One who remains there sees only walls and shadows, unaware that above are wide windows, fresh air, and sunlit rooms. The only difference between the basement and the penthouse is consciousness, and the only vehicle of passage is the lift. That lift is the spoken word infused with belief. Every thought we think is a step into that elevator. Every word we speak is the pressing of a button that determines whether we ascend or remain where we are. Some keep pressing the button marked fear, and so the lift never moves. Others hesitate, pressing faith one moment and doubt the next, causing the journey to halt between floors. Yet the law is simple: the lift obeys the button pressed with conviction. When faith is absolute, when the word is spoken without hesitation, the lift moves, swift and unerring, carrying the soul upward into realms of greater supply and wider vision. The spoken word is the most powerful tool given to man, for it is the bridge between thought and manifestation. Thoughts may flicker, shift, and dissolve, but words carry the vibration into form. When one declares, "I am lifted into abundance," the universe responds, not in some distant future, but at once. The declaration creates movement, a shifting of energy, an alignment with higher levels of consciousness where supply is natural and effortless. Words of lack hold us to the basement. But words of faith rise like currents, carrying us to the higher floors where treasures await. Many ask why their prayers seem unanswered, why their affirmations bear no fruit, why they ride the lift yet never reach the top. The answer lies in divided consciousness. If one speaks words of faith but harbors secret fears, the lift is stalled between floors. If one affirms abundance in the morning but laments poverty at night, the journey is interrupted. The lift of consciousness requires consistency. It requires a steady pressing of the button, a refusal to look back at the basement, a calm assurance that upward movement is inevitable. The very act of staying in faith, even when appearances deny it, is what powers the ascent. Consider how swiftly an elevator rises once it is set in motion. It does not struggle, it does not climb hand over hand. It is carried by a power greater than itself. So it is with consciousness. We are not meant to struggle upward by effort alone, but to be lifted by the invisible law once we choose alignment. The lift does not ask the passenger to explain mechanics or to generate the force. It requires only trust. Step inside, press the button, and allow the power to do the work. The same is true of the spoken word. We are not asked to strain, to figure out how the supply will arrive, or to calculate the steps. We are asked only to speak in faith, to declare the truth, and to rest in the certainty that the law will fulfill itself. The basement of thought is familiar to many, yet it holds no real treasures. It is filled with complaints, comparisons, and the constant whisper of insufficiency. One who lives there may believe the higher floors are unreachable, or may imagine the lift is broken. Yet the lift is never broken. It waits patiently for the command. The moment the command is given, the doors close on the old view, and the ascent begins. What was unseen becomes visible, what was impossible becomes natural, and what seemed far away becomes immediate. The entire shift is not in the outer world, but in the inner level at which one dwells. This upward movement is not only about material supply, but about clarity, peace, and vision. On the lower floors, windows are small, and one sees only narrow streets. But on the higher levels, the view expands. Problems that seemed enormous are now tiny, for perspective has changed. The higher the lift carries the consciousness, the smaller difficulties appear, and the more obvious solutions become. Abundance is not only wealth of money but wealth of perception, wealth of wisdom, wealth of courage. When lifted into higher consciousness, one sees opportunities where once there seemed only obstacles, and sees doors where once there appeared only walls. The power of the spoken word cannot be overemphasized. Words create images in the mind, and images become experiences in the world. To say, "I am rich," while feeling poor is to press two buttons at once, and the lift hesitates. To speak with joy, conviction, and repetition is to press the same button firmly until the law responds with precision. The universe does not ignore a consistent declaration. The energy of faith builds momentum, and the lift rises until the new floor is reached. The shift may seem sudden, but it is the natural effect of persistent alignment. One need not strain to lift consciousness. Strain is effort born of doubt. The lift works silently, invisibly, carrying the soul upward without struggle. Faith is not labor, it is surrender to law. When the word is spoken, when the button is pressed, the power flows without obstruction. The lift does not consult appearances, nor is it hindered by the weight of fear once the command is clear. It simply carries out the order. So too does spirit fulfill the word spoken in certainty. There is beauty in the metaphor of ascent, for it reveals that we are never stuck, never imprisoned on one level. At any moment, the lift is available. At any moment, we may choose to rise. Circumstances may press heavily on the basement floor, but they do not control the button of consciousness. Only the individual does. The instant one chooses differently, the instant one affirms a higher truth, the ascent begins. The lift cares nothing for the years spent in the basement, it responds only to the present command. Thus, the lift of consciousness is not fantasy but law. It operates with the same certainty as gravity or light. The spoken word is the key. Faith is the button, and the law of spirit is the power that raises us without delay. Every soul holds this power, though many forget it, and many misuse it by speaking words of fear. Yet the law is impartial. It will lift as quickly with, "I am abundant," as it will with, "I am poor," for it honors the button pressed. The choice, therefore, lies not in whether the lift exists, but in whether we dare to use it rightly, consistently, and with unwavering conviction. The symbol of the 110 millions is not to be taken as a mere number, nor as the promise of one specific sum, but as the emblem of limitless increase. The figure chosen by Spirit to reveal that abundance is without measure. Numbers in the language of Spirit are not cold arithmetic, but carriers of vibration. They whisper meanings. They point to truths hidden beneath the surface. The figure of 110 million is extravagant, beyond the ordinary grasp of human planning, and in that very extravagance lies the message. It is Spirit saying, "I do not deal in rations, I do not measure in small coins. My supply is vast, overflowing, inconceivable to the calculating mind." The human tendency is to pray for just enough, to seek a little more, to fear excess as though it were dangerous. But divine law knows no smallness, and when it gives in floods. To dwell on the symbol of the 110 millions is to train the mind away from limitation. It is to remind the consciousness that the universe does not count in dribbles, it counts in oceans. The number shocks the rational thought. And that shock is useful, for it shakes loose the habitual belief that one must creep forward in inches. Spirit reveals through such symbols that the increase available is immeasurable, that the soul must expand its vision to receive. If one asks only for bread, the answer comes as a banquet. If one asks only for pennies, the answer comes as millions. Not because the millions themselves are the goal, but because the supply is always greater than the demand when the demand is made in faith. The mind that focuses on money alone misses the essence. The millions are not paper, not figures in an account, but representations of overflowing good. They may manifest as wealth, but they may also appear as opportunities beyond price, as connections, as ideas, as health, as joy. The number is a symbol, a pointer, reminding us that divine increase is not bound by form. The 110 millions could arrive as a contract, as a gift, as land, as unexpected provision. Or it may arrive as a shift so complete that one's need for money itself is transformed. The symbol does not bind Spirit. It declares Spirit's nature. That nature is generosity, overflow, the endless river that pours forth because it cannot do otherwise. Why then is the symbol so specific, so great? Because specificity awakens belief. The vague prayer, the timid hope, drifts unanswered because it carries no conviction. But when one contemplates a vast figure, something within stretches, something awakens. The soul begins to ask, if such a thing is possible, what else may be possible? The symbol of millions is therefore not meant to bind the imagination, but to free it. It reminds us that nothing is too large, nothing too extravagant, for Spirit. If the mind can conceive it, Spirit can produce it. And often Spirit produces more, for it delights in surpassing the boundaries of thought. To see 110 millions is to be reminded of the overflowing nature of life itself. A tree does not produce one leaf, but thousands. A flower does not drop one seed, but multitudes. A wave does not strike the shore once, but endlessly. All of creation testifies to abundance. And the number merely puts into human terms what nature displays in silence. The symbol says, look around you, notice the excess that surrounds you. Notice how the sun pours light without charge, how the earth pours fruit without measure, how the air pours breath without limit. If nature is extravagant in every detail, how could the divine source behind it all be anything less than infinite? Many fear large numbers. They shrink back, thinking them too vast, too dangerous, too beyond their deserving. Yet this shrinking is the very barrier to receiving. Spirit withholds nothing, it is the narrow vessel of consciousness that limits the inflow. When one dares to contemplate millions with calm acceptance, the vessel enlarges. The mind begins to expect greater things, the heart begins to open wider, and the channels of life respond. The number is not greed, it is growth. It stretches the imagination to the scale of Spirit's generosity. It is also a reminder that to Spirit, A penny and a million are the same. Both are created with equal ease, both are delivered without effort. The difficulty lies not in the giving but in the believing. To infinite intelligence, there is no difference in supplying one seed or one forest, one coin or one fortune. The law does not struggle with size, only with doubt. When the consciousness says, "It is as easy for me to receive a fortune as to receive a coin," then the channels are widened, and the greater supply flows freely. The symbol of millions is a training ground for faith, for it compels the soul to let go of the belief in difficulty. There is also rhythm in the figure itself. 110 suggests strength, foundation, and multiplication. It carries the vibration of wholeness and increase. The millions that follow amplify this rhythm, making it vast, making it overflowing. Spirit often speaks in symbols that are not fully understood by the intellect but felt by the heart. The number therefore may stir something beyond reasoning, a sense of greatness, a call to expansion. That stirring is the true gift, for it awakens the soul to claim more of what has always been waiting. To meditate on the 110 millions is to see beyond figures and into principle. It is to know that divine law is inexhaustible, that the treasures of spirit cannot be counted. The number is a pointer to the limitless reservoir. It is as though spirit says, "Even if you imagine this vast sum, I could give it without effort, and still there would be more. Still the storehouse would remain full, still the river would flow." The symbol teaches us that we need never fear depletion. No matter how great the vision, spirit remains greater still. No matter how large the dream, the source remains infinite. When the consciousness embraces this symbol, fear of insufficiency dissolves. One ceases to ask, "Will there be enough?" and instead declares, "There is more than enough." That declaration, spoken in faith, is what transforms experience. The soul begins to expect excess, to welcome overflow, to prepare for more than it asked. And in that preparation the law responds, for it always matches belief. The 110 millions is therefore less about the sum itself and more about the consciousness it awakens. The consciousness of boundless supply. The mind that dwells in limitation cannot grasp this at once, but repetition softens resistance. To hold the image, to speak the affirmation, to imagine the vastness without fear, is to build the inner capacity to receive. Slowly the fear of greatness dissolves, and the natural state of abundance is restored. Then the figure no longer shocks, but feels normal, feels right, feels inevitable. That is when the symbol has fulfilled its purpose. It has trained the consciousness to rise above smallness, to align with the measureless generosity of spirit, to see beyond the coin into the infinite river that never ceases to pour forth. The someone in the message is not a stranger to be chased, not a benefactor to be begged, not a figure of chance, but the chosen channel through which spirit moves its treasures. Spirit always works through instruments, through people, through circumstances, yet those instruments are never the source. The source is always the invisible law of supply, and the channels are countless. To fix the gaze on one person and demand they deliver is to mistake the channel for the fountain. The fountain of abundance is eternal, inexhaustible, and it chooses its channels with perfect precision. The someone may be near or far, known or unknown, expected or unexpected. The law does not require the receiver to identify the channel. The law requires only that the receiver be open, receptive, and ready to accept supply from wherever spirit appoints it to flow. In every story of sudden provision, there is always a someone. A letter arrives, a call is made, a friend remembers, a stranger appears, a door opens. Yet behind each of these someones is the invisible orchestration of spirit. The person may believe it was their choice, their decision, their generosity. But in truth they were the vessel through which divine order expressed itself. To look only at the vessel is to forget the ocean that fills it. The wise soul recognizes the someone as a symbol, a reminder that spirit never works in isolation, but always through appointed means. This truth removes fear and striving. Many worry, who will help me, who will provide, who will support? Such questions bind the mind to a narrow search, looking only in familiar directions. But the law has no such limits. The someone may be one never considered, may be an avenue never imagined, may be an opportunity so far beyond the expected that it feels miraculous. When one trusts the law, there is no need to select the channel, no need to identify the person. The focus is not on who, but on the certainty that spirit is moving, that the right someone is already appointed, already on the way, already carrying out their part in divine timing. The symbol of someone is also a lesson in release. It teaches that the receiver must let go of control, must surrender the tendency to dictate the manner of fulfillment. Too often, prayers are limited by rigid expectations. The mind insists the provision must come from this person, through this method, in this sequence. But spirit does not work by human rules. Spirit works by harmony, by the perfect weaving of countless threads into one tapestry. To trust the someone is to allow the channel to be chosen by wisdom greater than our own. It is to say, I am open to receive, and I care not through whom it comes, for I know the source is eternal and unfailing. Someone is not necessarily a single person. It may be many acting in harmony, it may be an organization, it may be an event. Spirit arranges these channels with flawless timing. The lift descends, the door opens, and suddenly the right person appears, the right word is spoken, the right connection is made. Human reasoning might call it coincidence, but the awakened soul sees it as divine order unfolding. Every someone who enters the path at the appointed moment is an answer to faith, a confirmation that the law never fails. There is also a deeper teaching hidden in the symbol of someone. At times, the appointed someone is not another, but the self. The divine within rises as the channel, the source of wisdom, the spark of inspiration, the sudden idea that transforms everything. Many wait for external figures, forgetting that spirit often uses the very individual who prays as the vessel of fulfillment. The someone may be your own higher self, speaking through intuition, guiding to an action, revealing a solution. Thus the law works both inwardly and outwardly, through others and through the self, always weaving them together in harmony. When the consciousness understands this truth, there is no need for desperation. Desperation arises when one believes there are few channels, when one clings to a single person or source. But faith expands vision, reminding the soul that channels are infinite. There are as many someones as there are stars, as many possibilities as there are grains of sand. If one door closes, another opens, for spirit is never limited. The supply is eternal, and it will find its path no matter how many obstacles appear. The someone cannot miss their appointment, for divine order is exact. The teaching also reveals the importance of readiness. Spirit may appoint the channel, but the receiver must be prepared to accept. Too often, the someone appears, but fear or pride rejects the gift. The channel is dismissed because it does not match the expected form. The lesson is clear. Remain open, remain humble, remain willing to receive in whatever way spirit chooses. The someone may come disguised, may come in ways that seem small or strange, yet within that form lies the appointed blessing. Those who are receptive recognize it and receive fully. Those who cling to pride or narrow vision let it pass by. The idea of someone also releases us from isolation. It reminds us that we are part of a vast web of connection, that no good comes in isolation but always in relationship. The law moves through people, through circumstances, through interactions. Even the wealth that appears in a solitary account is connected to countless others. The workers, the thinkers, the traders, the givers. The someone is a thread in the larger fabric of divine harmony. To honor that thread is to honor spirit itself. Faith in the someone also dissolves resentment. Often, the mind grows bitter, expecting one particular person to deliver, and when they do not, anger arises. But when we understand that no single person is the source, resentment vanishes. That one may not have been the appointed channel. The true someone is already chosen, already on the way. Thus there is no need to cling, no need to demand, no need to force. Release others from the role of provider, and see them only as fellow travelers. Trust Spirit to appoint the right vessel at the right moment, and peace returns. The symbol is liberating. It frees us from dependence on personalities and places dependence where it belongs, on the eternal law. The someone is always provided. The channel always appears. The lift always arrives at the appointed floor. What is required of us is not control but readiness, not fear but trust, not clinging but release. In this trust, the heart rests secure, knowing that the right someone is already chosen, and the flow of supply is already in motion. The eternal 5 minutes is not a measure of time as clocks would count it, not a literal span of minutes ticking by, but a symbol of immediacy, the revelation that all manifestation is born in the now. To Spirit there is no past and no future. There is only the eternal present, the timeless moment where every possibility already exists in completeness. The human mind measures by hours, by days, by years, and in so doing binds itself to delay. It says, it will take time, it will require waiting, it will arrive later. Yet Spirit does not dwell in later. Spirit dwells in now. The 5 minutes is a parable. A figure chosen to shock the mind into seeing that what is sought need not be distant, that what is asked for can descend at once, that the so-called waiting is only the shadow cast by disbelief. When one speaks the word of faith, it is not a seed buried to wait out seasons, it is a command that draws the unseen into form. The law of Spirit responds instantly. The delay appears only in consciousness, in the resistance of the mind, in the veil of doubt. But the instant faith is pure, the instant word is spoken with authority, manifestation is immediate. This is the eternal 5 minutes, the moment between recognition and reception, which in truth is no time at all. It is the sudden shift, the lift that rises, the curtain that parts, the treasure that is revealed. To the human perspective it may seem rapid, as though only 5 minutes have passed, yet to Spirit it is timeless, for Spirit acts only in the now. The eternal 5 minutes dissolves fear of waiting. Many postpone their joy, saying, when I have more, I will be happy. When circumstances change, I will be free. They place abundance always in the future, always out of reach. Yet the law teaches otherwise. Joy is now, freedom is now. Abundance is now. The moment one claims it, the moment one declares it, the moment one shifts consciousness, it is present. The 5 minutes symbolizes the swiftness of this shift, but the deeper truth is that there is no interval at all. What is called delay is only the time taken for the mind to accept. Once accepted, supply is already here. Consider the image of a veil drawn across a window. The sun shines outside, full and radiant, yet the room remains dim. One may sit in the shadows believing the light has not come, believing it will take time to arrive. But the light was never absent. It waits only for the veil to be drawn aside. That act of drawing aside is instantaneous. The moment it is done, the light floods in. That is the eternal 5 minutes. It is not the coming of the sun but the recognition of what already is. The light was there, the supply was there. The abundance was there, waiting only for consciousness to remove the barrier. The eternal 5 minutes also reveals that divine supply is not earned by the passage of time. Effort, toil, delay, these belong to the human belief that value must be measured by struggle. Spirit makes no such bargain. Spirit gives freely, fully, instantly. To believe that abundance requires long labor is to bind oneself to the basement of thought. To understand that it requires only recognition is to enter the lift. The 5 minutes is a reminder that what seems long and heavy can be light and swift. A fortune can arrive in a moment, a healing can occur in a breath, a transformation can unfold in the twinkling of an eye. This truth does not deny the appearance of process in the outer world. The harvest does appear to grow across seasons, the building does appear to rise over months, the journey does appear to unfold across miles. Yet beneath those appearances, the supply is already complete. The seed contains the full harvest, the blueprint contains the full building, the path contains the full destination. The eternal 5 minutes reveals that what we call process is merely the unfolding of what already exists. Faith collapses the sense of delay, bringing the end into the present. One who believes sees the harvest while planting, lives in the building while sketching, rejoices at the destination while still walking. The eternal 5 minutes is also a discipline of thought. It demands that one stop postponing. It asks, why wait to feel abundant? Why wait to believe in wealth? Why wait to affirm supply? The soul is invited to declare now, to rejoice now, to live as though the manifestation were already present. This is not pretense, for spirit has already given. It is recognition. To live in the eternal 5 minutes is to speak and act as though the desired good is already here, because in truth it is. That consciousness draws it swiftly into visible form. Many live in the illusion of tomorrow. They say, tomorrow I will prosper. Tomorrow I will succeed. Tomorrow I will rest. Yet tomorrow never arrives, for it is always postponed. The eternal 5 minutes breaks this illusion. It declares, now is the appointed time. Now is the moment of supply. Now is the day of abundance. To embrace this truth is to step into alignment with spirit, to collapse the distance between desire and fulfillment, to see that they are one and the same. The symbol of 5 minutes is gentle, for it eases the mind into acceptance. The human mind may resist the idea of absolute immediacy, but it can grasp the nearness of 5 minutes. It can accept that a change may come suddenly, swiftly, without long delay. The figure acts as a bridge between the infinite now of spirit and the linear thinking of man. It says, if you cannot yet believe in instant, believe in soon. If you cannot yet accept now, accept within minutes. And in that acceptance, the miracle manifests often faster than imagined. The eternal 5 minutes is also the moment of readiness. Spirit does not measure time but readiness of consciousness. When the inner word is clear, when faith is strong, when doubt has dissolved, the supply manifests immediately. The 5 minutes symbolizes that moment of readiness, the inner alignment that tips the balance and brings forth the visible. One may wait years in doubt, but the shift comes in a flash, and the years vanish as though they never were. The blessing descends in the appointed moment, and it is always the now. This teaching frees the soul from anxiety about how long things will take. It no longer matters whether the outer world says it will take months or years. Spirit requires no such time. The supply exists already in completeness, and the 5 minutes symbolizes how swiftly it can appear once consciousness is aligned. The lift does not crawl slowly up the shaft. It moves swiftly once the button is pressed. So too does abundance manifest swiftly once the command is given in faith. The eternal 5 minutes, therefore, is not about minutes at all, but about consciousness. It is the space between asking and receiving, which in truth is no space at all. It is the reminder that supply is immediate, that abundance is already present. That time itself is but a veil the mind weaves. The moment one lives in the eternal now, the 5 minutes collapses into an instant, and the desired good is revealed in all its fullness. There is a power moving through the universe, silent yet mighty, unseen yet all-seeing, that responds to every word we speak and every thought we hold. This power does not sleep nor slumber. It hears the whisper of the timid heart and the shout of the bold mind alike. When one aligns with this power, when one learns the secret law that governs money, abundance, and divine supply, then one must become very wise, very silent, and very sure, for the tongue is a tool of creation. And what you speak after you know the secret can either open the floodgates of wealth or shut them tight. There is a money secret hidden not in banks or vaults, but in the realm of thought. A secret so simple that many overlook it, yet so profound that those who discover it are never the same again. It is not found in the clinking of coins or the figures of accounts, but in the quiet conviction that God is your supply. The universe is not stingy, it is lavish beyond measure. But it waits always for the clear decree. By your word you are justified, and by your word you are condemned. And so, when the secret is known, one must guard their word as a treasure chest, sealed and sacred. Money flows to those who understand vibration, the unseen current that runs beneath every business deal, every opportunity, every chance meeting. When your vibration sings of confidence, gratitude, and expectancy, gold itself seems to find you. It comes through doors you did not know existed, through people you never imagined, and in ways that defy logic. Yet the moment you speak doubt, complain of lack, or reveal your sacred knowing to the unready, the current stills. The power retreats, waiting once again for your faith to rise and your words to align with your belief. When a soul first learns this secret, the temptation is great to tell others, to share, to boast, to convince. But this is a divine mystery, and mysteries lose their magic when they are spoken to ears that cannot yet hear. To speak of your manifestation before it is complete is to expose the tender seed before it breaks the soil. Guard your secret in silence. Let your demonstration speak for you. The wise one smiles, gives thanks, and keeps still, knowing that the invisible has already shaped the visible. Money is not earned, it is attracted. It is drawn to faith as iron is drawn to a magnet. The one who walks with assurance, who blesses every bill and every coin, who gives freely and fears nothing. That one is rich indeed. When you know this, when you truly know it, you will feel a holy hush within. You will not argue, you will not beg, you will not announce. You will keep your mouth shut and let the universe do the talking. Every word that passes your lips carries a vibration, a frequency that moves into the unseen and begins to shape the scene. Words are not mere sounds, they are spiritual decrees. The universe listens to the tone of your speech and arranges circumstances to match it. When one truly understands that words are forces of creation, then speaking becomes a sacred act. The careless phrase, the idle complaint, the anxious confession. These are not harmless expressions. They are seeds that will sprout in the soil of your experience. The wise soul knows that to guard the mouth is to guard the gate of destiny. When you speak of lack, lack answers. When you speak of fear, fear takes form. When you bless your finances. When you speak gratitude over the money you have and the money that is on its way, you are commanding substance into shape. The invisible energy of abundance responds immediately to conviction and clarity. The word, I am, is the name of creative power itself. Whatever follows those words begins to manifest in the field of your life. To say, I am prosperous, is to invite prosperity into being. To say, I am broke, is to fasten yourself to poverty. There is no neutral statement in the realm of spirit. Each word you utter is a call sent out to the universe, and it will always return, bearing results. The tongue can be a tool or a trap. Many speak their blessings away without realizing it. They pray for supply, then confess fear to their friends. They affirm abundance in the morning, then complain about bills in the afternoon. Each contradictory word cancels the last, and the power becomes tangled. The universe is exact. It mirrors belief with precision. If you wish to receive consistently, you must speak consistently. Every statement should align with the truth of abundance, even when appearances seem to deny it. Appearances are the illusion. Words are the reality in formation. Speak only of what you desire, never of what you dread. The moment a word is spoken, it becomes law unto the speaker. The vibration leaves your mouth, travels through the ether, and begins to gather substance around it. You may not see the change immediately, but the shift is already underway. Words are like architects drawing invisible blueprints. Thoughts provide the raw material, but speech gives form. A thought may linger as a vapor, but when it is spoken aloud, it becomes magnetized, alive, charged with energy. That is why you must guard your words as carefully as you would guard a fortune. The wrong word can deplete you. The right word can enrich you beyond measure. To guard your words does not mean to live in fear of speaking, but to speak with consciousness. It means choosing each statement with awareness, letting only that which builds and blesses escape your lips. When you talk about money, talk as though it is your trusted companion, not your elusive enemy. Speak of your wealth as a living presence, a divine energy that flows to and through you. Declare that your supply is endless, your opportunities are abundant, your channels are wide open. Every affirmation plants a seed in the fertile ground of the subconscious, and in time, that seed breaks forth as visible prosperity. Money follows language. If you want more, start by changing how you talk about it. Never speak of being poor, broke, or in debt. These words carry vibrations of resistance and scarcity. Instead, replace them with phrases that affirm expansion. I always have more than enough. Money comes to me in expected and unexpected ways. Everything I spend returns multiplied. Speak as one who already possesses what they desire. The universe responds not to your need, but to your certainty. When your words declare abundance as a fact, the material world rushes to make it so. There is creative fire in the tongue. It burns pathways through the unseen and calls forth substance from spirit. That is why the ancient sages warned to, let your words be few and seasoned with grace. Idle chatter about lack or limitation weakens your vibration. Every time you complain, you pour energy into the very thing you wish to escape. Every time you gossip about others' misfortunes, you align yourself with that frequency. Guarding your words is not about silence alone. It is about purification. Let your speech reflect the wealth of your soul, not the worry of your mind. Observe your daily language, and you will know the condition of your prosperity. Do you say, I can't afford it? Then you are affirming restriction. Do you say, I always get by somehow? Then you are declaring survival, not overflow. Speak instead of thriving, of flourishing, of ease and plenty. Speak of the constant stream of divine supply that never fails. Even in small matters, your words count. When you receive a bill, bless it and say, divine substance now pays this in full. When you see a price tag, say, there is plenty more where that came from. Every statement of faith builds the vibration of abundance around you. Guarding your words also means guarding the company you keep. Conversation is contagious. If you spend time with those who speak defeat, their energy will color your own. Surround yourself with voices that lift and expand you. Choose conversations that align with prosperity, creativity, and gratitude. If others speak fear, do not argue. Simply withdraw inwardly into your knowing, and affirm silently that divine supply is unlimited. You need not convince anyone. Your demonstration will speak louder than debate. The power of guarded speech lies in its quiet authority. To guard your words is to master yourself. It is to realize that you are the speaker of law, the decreer of your own universe. Every I am statement you make is a command to the creative substance of life. Say, I am blessed, and you summon blessings. Say, I am struggling, and you summon struggle. The law makes no distinction between big or small requests. It only follows vibration. The universe does not question your sincerity, it mirrors your conviction. Therefore, speak only what you wish to experience, and refuse to give voice to anything you would not invite into your reality. Guarding your words is not suppression. It is direction. It is the art of steering your speech toward the outcome you desire. Each time you resist the urge to complain, you strengthen your magnetic field. Each time you bless instead of curse, you multiply your supply. Words are currents of power, they can either drain or deliver. When spoken in faith, they become channels for divine energy to flow through your affairs. When spoken in fear, they block the current and scatter the flow. Choose the current of wealth by speaking as the wealthy do, calmly, thankfully, and with assurance. The mind is the garden, but the tongue is the gardener. Whatever words you plant will grow, watered by attention and emotion. Speak wealth, and wealth takes root. Speak harmony, and peace blooms. Speak confusion, and weeds of delay and difficulty appear. The soil of the subconscious never argues. It accepts every word as a command. So guard your speech as you would guard a sacred ritual, for every word is a spell in motion, shaping your financial world with precision. There is an invisible current that moves beneath all things, a silent rhythm that governs the flow of wealth and opportunity. You cannot see it with the eyes, but you can feel it in your emotions, your thoughts, and the atmosphere around you. This current is vibration. Every individual is a broadcasting station, sending out signals through feeling and belief. Money, being a form of energy itself, is drawn to certain vibrations and repelled by others. The one who vibrates with fear of loss finds doors closing. The one who vibrates with certainty of abundance finds doors opening. The universe is exact and impartial. It is not the hand that toils the hardest that gains the greatest fortune, but the heart that beats in harmony with the frequency of prosperity. Effort is the outer form, vibration is the inner cause. You can labor endlessly, take every class, chase every opportunity, and still find that success slips away if your vibration contradicts your desire. When your inner world hums with lack, the outer world echoes it faithfully. Yet when you tune your frequency to the feeling of having, not wanting, not striving, but having, everything begins to shift. The right people appear, ideas unfold, and money flows through paths you never imagined. It is not about doing more, it is about being aligned. The vibration you hold becomes the silent magnet that arranges circumstances for your benefit. The vibration of wealth is calm, confident, and grateful. It does not rush or beg. It does not chase or grasp. It moves with certainty, knowing that supply is continuous and that divine order never fails. The anxious worker who strains and struggles pushes prosperity away with every worried thought. The one who relaxes into faith, who trusts the invisible law, invites it closer. True riches come to those who know how to rest inwardly while acting outwardly. They act with inspiration, not desperation. They are not driven by fear of scarcity, but led by a quiet assurance that everything needed will arrive at the perfect time. Money has a language, and that language is vibration. It does not listen to your words alone, it listens to the feeling behind them. You may affirm abundance all day long, but if your tone is one of doubt, the vibration you send is still lack. The law of attraction cannot be deceived by empty words. You must feel the truth of what you speak. You must believe so deeply that your body relaxes, your breath deepens, and your heart rests in peace. When your vibration aligns with wealth, effort becomes ease. Tasks that once seemed heavy unfold smoothly, and results arrive without strain. Many believe that hard work alone creates success, but the world is filled with tired, struggling people who have worked all their lives without finding ease or abundance. True prosperity is not earned through exhaustion. It is received through alignment. The farmer who plants in harmony with the seasons reaps with little struggle. The one who plants against the rhythm of nature toils in vain. So it is with money. When your vibration harmonizes with the divine timing of the universe, your work bears fruit swiftly and beautifully. When your vibration resists, no amount of labor can force the harvest. Vibration is shaped by thought, emotion, and expectation. Every feeling of gratitude lifts your frequency higher, every thought of fear lowers it. Gratitude is the song of abundance. When you give thanks for what you already have, you tune your energy to the rhythm of receiving. The universe recognizes that note and responds by sending more of what matches it. Worry, on the other hand, is a song of resistance. It tells the universe that you do not trust the flow, and so the flow slows. The more you fret about money, the more you delay it. The more you bless money, the more freely it circulates toward you. Effort without alignment is struggle, alignment without effort is magic. The wise person balances both. They take action, but their action is guided by intuition, not fear. They do what feels right, not what feels forced. They listen to the quiet voice within, that whisper that says, "Wet," or "Go now," or "Try this way instead." That inner direction always comes when your vibration is high. It is the guidance of divine intelligence speaking through the heart. When you act from that place, every movement is efficient, every step is blessed, and money flows naturally as a byproduct of harmony. To raise your vibration to match abundance, you must first release the belief that money is hard to get. Money is energy, and energy is plentiful. It circulates endlessly through people, ideas, and opportunities. It does not belong to one person more than another. The only difference between poverty and prosperity is vibration. Those who expect money to flow find that it does. Those who fear money will not come find their fears confirmed. The outer world simply mirrors the tone of the inner one. To change your financial reality, you must first change your emotional frequency. Vibration is felt before it is seen. Others sense it when you walk into a room. You can feel the energy of a person who is anxious about money. Their words may be positive, but their aura is tense. You can also feel the serenity of someone who knows abundance. Their very presence calms and inspires. Money gravitates to calmness because calmness is trust, and trust is the natural state of prosperity. To be rich in vibration is to carry an inner stillness that says, "All is well." From that stillness, right opportunities emerge, and what once seemed impossible becomes inevitable. Your vibration speaks louder than your effort. You cannot outwork a vibration of fear. You cannot earn your way out of a belief in scarcity. The more you struggle under the belief that you must work hard for every dollar, the more you confirm that hard work is your only source. But when you shift your vibration to one of ease, money begins to come through new and lighter channels. You might receive a gift, a new client, a surprise opportunity. Life begins to cooperate because your vibration has become a match for flow instead of friction. To align with the vibration of money, treat it with respect and joy. Do not resent it or fear it. Bless every dollar that passes through your hands, for blessing lifts vibration. When you spend, say, "This money blesses all it touches and returns to me multiplied." When you receive, say, "Thank you, more of this, please." These small affirmations create a field of harmony around your financial life. They tell the universe that you are a safe keeper of wealth, one who circulates it with grace and gratitude. The vibration of joy attracts more joy, and joy is the essence of abundance. Your vibration is tuned through what you focus on daily. Constantly speaking of problems lowers your frequency. Constantly observing beauty raises it. Listen to music that uplifts you, spend time in nature, and surround yourself with symbols of prosperity that make you feel abundant. Even before wealth arrives, feel wealthy. Act as though the flow is already established. The universe responds to that feeling, not the outer evidence. When your vibration reaches the level of already done, the physical manifestation must appear, for the outer always follows the inner. Effort is only effective when it rides upon the current of vibration. Without that current, it is like rowing against the tide. With it, you glide smoothly to your destination. To chase money is to repel it, but to align with its frequency is to invite it. Every emotion, every thought, every word you speak is either tuning you toward wealth or away from it. Choose thoughts that feel good, emotions that expand you, and words that affirm trust. In this way, your vibration becomes your fortune, your energy becomes your currency, and your wealth becomes inevitable. When a divine idea first enters the mind, it is delicate, like a seed newly planted in fertile soil. It carries within it all the potential of harvest. Yet it must be guarded with care until it grows strong enough to stand on its own. The law of manifestation moves silently, and it performs its greatest work in secrecy. The moment you speak too soon, the vibration scatters. The sacred energy that was gathering around your vision begins to dissolve into the noise of explanation, doubt, and outside influence. Silence is not concealment born of fear, it is protection born of wisdom. It is the shield that preserves the purity of creation until it becomes visible. Every manifestation begins in the unseen. Before the form appears, the substance must be shaped in thought and feeling. This invisible formation requires stillness. The mind must be quiet, the emotions steady, the words restrained. To speak prematurely is to open the gate to interference. When others hear of your dream, they project their own vibrations upon it. Their doubts, their envy, their confusion, even their disbelief. Though they may mean no harm, their energy mingles with yours and weakens the clarity of your focus. Silence keeps the channel clean. It allows your vision to mature in peace, untouched by conflicting forces. The universe loves secrecy because silence amplifies energy. When you keep your manifestations private, your belief gathers momentum. The energy stays concentrated, circling within you like a golden current. Each time you imagine your desire fulfilled, each time you feel gratitude for what is to come, you are charging that current with power. To speak of it too soon is to release the charge before it has fully formed. Words are powerful, But in the early stages of manifestation, silence is more powerful still. It is the womb of creation, where the unseen becomes the inevitable. There is a sacred rhythm in manifestation: sowing, gestation, and harvest. The sowing happens when you decide, when you declare inwardly, "It is mine." The gestation is the silent period where nothing appears to happen outwardly, yet everything is aligning inwardly. This is the time when most people break the silence. They speak out of impatience, seeking validation, or they confess doubt to others when they see no evidence yet. But the wise one understands that the silent stage is the most crucial. The universe is rearranging circumstances in unseen ways. The seed is germinating under the surface. Silence honors the divine process. Silence does not mean inaction, it means inward action. During this sacred quiet, you continue to nurture the vibration of your desire through imagination, gratitude, and trust. You visualize, you affirm, but you do not announce. Each unspoken moment deepens the vibration. Each silent thought sends a signal to the universe that you are sure of your manifestation. Those who constantly speak of their desires reveal uncertainty. They seek reassurance, which is a vibration of lack. Silence, on the other hand, declares confidence. It says, "I do not need to prove this to anyone. It is already done." In silence, you hear the language of divine guidance. When you stop talking about your manifestation, you begin to listen. The still voice within you reveals the next step. A subtle impulse, a gentle intuition, a clear direction. These whispers cannot be heard in noise or chatter. They are delicate frequencies that require a quiet mind to perceive them. That is why the masters of manifestation retreat into stillness. They know that inspiration is born in silence. The outer world moves by effort, but the inner world moves by alignment. And alignment can only be felt in quiet confidence. Silence also protects your faith from external influence. When you share your dreams with others, even those you trust, you expose them to the opinions of minds that may not yet understand. Someone may say, "That's impossible," or "You're dreaming too big." And even if you dismiss it outwardly, their words plant a subtle vibration of doubt. That vibration can grow and weaken your focus. Doubt is the thief of manifestation, and silence is its guard. When you keep your sacred vision private, you keep it free from contamination. You let your belief remain whole, unshaken by the noise of disbelief. Many people speak about what they are creating because they seek approval. They want others to confirm their worthiness. But this is the very vibration that delays their manifestation. True power never seeks approval. It creates in silence and allows results to speak for themselves. The oak tree does not announce the sprouting of its seed. It grows quietly until it towers above the field. So must your manifestation grow, unseen, unspoken, until it stands so firmly in reality that none can deny it. Silence builds that strength. When you are silent, you are not denying your manifestation. You are feeding it. You are allowing energy to gather like clouds before the rain. Each moment of quiet conviction adds density to the atmosphere of creation. When the time is right, the results pour forth effortlessly, as though they were always meant to be. Those who speak too soon often disperse the clouds before the rain can fall. They wonder why their desires seem delayed, unaware that their own words scattered the vibration. The wise creator keeps the vision sealed within until manifestation begins to show itself. Silence also enhances your magnetic field. When you refrain from talking about your desires, you conserve spiritual energy. That conserved energy becomes magnetic substance. It surrounds you, drawing to you the resources, people, and events that match your inner vision. Talking releases that energy outward without direction. Silence gathers it inward with precision. It is the difference between a diffused light and a focused beam. The focused beam cuts through any obstacle. The diffused light merely glows without power. Your silence makes your intention sharp and irresistible. Those who master silence carry an aura of mystery and certainty. Others feel their strength but cannot name its source. It is the quiet confidence that comes from communion with the unseen. Words are often used to convince others, but silence convinces the universe. When you no longer need to talk about what you are manifesting, you have entered the vibration of possession. You have crossed the line from wishing to knowing. Knowing does not speak, it radiates. And what it radiates must eventually take form. In the early stages of manifestation, silence guards against impatience. It teaches you to rest in divine timing. When you speak of your desire too often, you stir the waters with anxiety, checking constantly for signs of progress. Silence allows you to trust that the process is unfolding perfectly, even when unseen. Patience is a vibration of faith, and faith is the bridge between the invisible and the visible. Each quiet moment is a declaration that you believe in the unseen power working for you. Silence also refines your vibration. As you keep quiet, you become more aware of your own inner dialogue. You begin to notice thoughts that contradict your desire, moments of fear, disbelief, or worry. In the stillness, you can correct them. You can replace them with thoughts of confidence and abundance. This internal alignment is the true work of manifestation. It is far more powerful than seeking reassurance from others. When you master your inner voice, the outer world must obey. There is great discipline in silence. It demands that you trust your own power rather than seek strength from the outside. It demands faith in the unseen law. It demands patience while the invisible takes shape. But those who honor silence find that their manifestations come swifter and stronger than ever before. For silence is the guardian of energy, the protector of creation, the secret chamber where thought becomes form. It is the invisible armor around your dreams, keeping them safe until the moment they are ready to shine in the light of day. The unseen world governs the seen, and faith is the bridge between them. Faith is not a wish, nor a hope, nor a fleeting positive thought. It is the steady knowing that what you desire already exists in the realm of spirit, and is now finding its way into form. Faith is the inner wealth that precedes outer wealth. It is the invisible substance out of which visible prosperity is born. When a person possesses faith, they hold in their consciousness a vibration so complete that the universe must match it. All true abundance begins not in banks or business plans, but in the treasury of the heart where faith abides. Money itself is only a symbol. It is a mirror reflecting the state of your belief. To chase the symbol without building the substance is to live in constant uncertainty. Faith, however, is substance. It is the quiet assurance that your supply is limitless because it comes from the infinite source, not from people, jobs, or circumstances. Faith is the recognition that there is no shortage in divine law. It is the conviction that what you require is already provided, waiting only for your acceptance. When you stand in that knowing, the world rearranges itself to deliver exactly what you expect. Faith does not ask how, it simply knows. It does not negotiate or plead. It declares, "It is done." The vibration of that declaration sends forth a signal so strong that material conditions must align. Every miracle, every sudden opportunity, every unexpected check begins as a quiet moment of faith within someone's mind. It is the moment when belief becomes reality, before the senses confirm it. The outer world only echoes what the inner world has already decided. To the one with unwavering faith, results are inevitable. Faith is the law of spiritual finance. Just as the world uses currency to exchange value, the universe uses faith. When you spend faith, you receive manifestation. The greater your faith, the larger your capacity to receive. Those who doubt, hesitate, or fear are like individuals holding counterfeit coins. Their vibration lacks substance, and therefore it cannot purchase the experiences they desire. But one who walks in faith carries limitless credit with the universe. They know that divine supply is always in circulation, and that nothing can interrupt the flow except disbelief. True faith cannot be faked. It must be felt deeply, beyond the intellect. You cannot simply say, "I believe," while harboring worry in your heart. The universe listens not to your words but to your vibration. Faith feels light, expansive, and sure. Doubt feels heavy, constricted, and restless. When you hold faith, your body relaxes, your breath deepens, your mind quiets. You are no longer striving, you are allowing. That relaxation is not laziness. It is power. It means you are aligned with divine law, trusting it to deliver at the right moment. Faith is the still water beneath the surface, calm yet infinitely deep. To cultivate faith, you must train the imagination. Faith is seeing the unseen and feeling the formless as though it were already here. It is the ability to live in the vibration of the fulfilled desire before it manifests. Every great achiever, every mystic, every visionary has lived from this inner knowing. They did not wait for evidence to believe, their belief created the evidence. Faith precedes proof. Those who demand proof before believing remain in limitation. Those who believe without seeing command the power that creates worlds. Faith cannot coexist with fear. Wherever fear is entertained, faith withdraws. Fear is faith inverted, faith in loss, failure, or lack. To conquer fear, you must reassert faith in the higher law that governs all things. Remind yourself daily that the universe is friendly, that it is working for you, not against you. Speak affirmations that build inner certainty. My supply is endless. I walk in abundance. Everything I need is on its way. These statements are not mere words, they are vibrations of faith. When repeated with conviction, they reshape your subconscious mind into a vessel large enough to hold prosperity. Faith grows through practice. Every time you trust the unseen and watch it unfold, your faith strengthens. Start small if you must. Trust that a simple need will be met, that an opportunity will appear, that a payment will arrive. When it does, give thanks, for gratitude anchors the vibration of faith. Soon you will find that larger manifestations come with the same ease as the small ones. Faith expands like a muscle. The more you use it, the more powerful it becomes. Those who walk in faith radiate a distinct energy. Their presence feels peaceful, magnetic, and assured. They do not rush or worry, for they know that everything is unfolding in divine order. Their very calmness attracts success, money, opportunities, and allies are drawn to their certainty. The universe responds to faith, because faith is its own reflection. The divine recognizes itself in the vibration of unwavering belief and rushes to fulfill it. This is why the one who believes receives, while the one who doubts delays their own blessing. Faith transforms work into joy. Without faith, work feels heavy, uncertain, and anxious. With faith, work becomes expression, an avenue through which the divine flow moves. Faith removes the thought of competition and struggle. It reminds you that what is yours cannot be taken, and what belongs to another cannot be forced to you. This awareness frees you from comparison and scarcity. You begin to see that the same infinite mind that created you is operating through you, guiding your steps, arranging your affairs, and ensuring your prosperity. When you live in that awareness, your efforts become effortless, and money follows naturally. Faith does not depend on circumstances, it creates them. To look at an empty wallet and still feel rich is the mastery of faith. To thank the universe for supply before it arrives is the act that summons it. Many wait for abundance to feel secure, but those with faith feel secure first and abundance follows. The invisible law always reflects inner reality. You cannot hold faith for abundance while simultaneously entertaining thoughts of limitation. You must choose one. The moment you choose faith fully, the law begins to work with unbroken precision. There are moments when the evidence seems to contradict your faith. The outer world may appear stagnant or uncertain. This is when faith proves its power. The untrained mind panics and speaks defeat, but the faithful heart remains calm, knowing that appearances are temporary and that divine timing is exact. In those moments, silence and trust hold more power than 1,000 actions. The vibration of faith sustains the manifestation until it bursts forth in form. This is the test of mastery, to believe even when nothing seems to move. Faith is the energy of divine substance. It draws to you what belongs to you by right of consciousness. When your faith is unshakable, you become a center of attraction. People feel drawn to help you, opportunities arise in perfect sequence, and every need is met with grace. The flow of money is not random. It is a reflection of where faith is strongest. The more you trust, the faster and freer it circulates. Faith turns every delay into divine preparation, every obstacle into an open door, every challenge into proof of unseen strength. The invisible realm of abundance is constantly waiting for faith's command. It does not respond to worry, nor to effort alone, but to the vibration of certainty. When you walk in faith, you are rich even before riches appear. You move through life with assurance, giving freely, knowing that what you give returns multiplied. Faith frees you from the fear of loss, because it knows there can be no loss in the infinite. What is truly yours is sustained by divine law, and divine law never fails. Faith is the only true wealth because it cannot be taken, diminished, or destroyed. It is the foundation of all creation and the secret rhythm of every prosperous life. Confidence is the language of divine assurance. It is the vibration that tells the universe you already possess that which you desire. True confidence is not loud or boastful, it moves in silence. Grounded in inner knowing rather than outer proof. The quiet confidence of the soul is a magnetic force that draws opportunities, resources, and wealth without struggle. It is the recognition that the same intelligence that spins the planets and raises the sun each morning is working through you, guiding you, supporting you, and unfolding everything for your good. When you walk in that awareness, the universe bends toward you in harmony. Quiet confidence is not arrogance, it is faith expressed as calm. Arrogance shouts because it doubts, confidence whispers because it knows. It does not need to prove, persuade, or perform. It simply is. The one who possesses quiet confidence radiates peace in the midst of uncertainty. They act with poise, speak with assurance, and rest without fear. The universe responds to that vibration of calm certainty by sending matching experiences. Money, success, and opportunity are drawn to calm energy because calmness is a signal of control, of alignment, of readiness to receive. Turbulence repels. Serenity attracts. Confidence is the invisible evidence of belief. It is belief embodied, belief made visible through action, posture, and tone. When you carry yourself as one who is already prosperous, already fulfilled, you declare to the universe that you are ready to receive. Life does not give to those who beg, it gives to those who stand tall and say, I am worthy of this. Quiet confidence is the mark of worthiness accepted. You do not plead for what is yours by divine right, you claim it through vibration. Every calm thought, every assured step, every peaceful breath is a signal to the universe that you are aligned with abundance. The energy of quiet confidence comes from trust in the unseen law. It is the realization that divine order governs every detail of your life. Even when circumstances appear uncertain, confidence holds firm, knowing that all things are working together for your good. This confidence does not depend on outer signs, it creates them. When you remain centered in faith, even when appearances seem against you, the universe rearranges itself to reflect your inner poise. That is the alchemy of spiritual confidence. The outer always mirrors the inner. Quiet confidence carries a sacred rhythm. It moves without haste, yet always arrives on time. It acts with precision, speaks with intention, and listens with wisdom. Those who possess it never need to rush, for they understand that everything unfolds in perfect timing. Their calmness communicates power. People feel safe in their presence because their energy is steady and strong. The universe, too, feels this steadiness and trusts them with greater responsibilities, greater wealth, and greater opportunities. Confidence is a sign to divine intelligence that you are prepared to handle more. When you are confident, you release resistance. You no longer fight against the flow of life. You trust it. You allow it to move through you freely. Resistance is born of fear. Confidence dissolves fear. The confident soul knows that everything needed is already on its way, and so they rest. That rest is not idleness. It is alignment. It is a state of mental clarity that allows inspired action to arise naturally. In that state, ideas come easily. Solutions reveal themselves, and the right people appear. Effort becomes grace when confidence replaces doubt. Quiet confidence is the energy of kings and queens, not of dominion over others, but of mastery over self. It is the silent crown that cannot be seen, but can be felt by all who encounter it. This inner majesty is the natural state of those who have awakened to their divine connection. They know who they are and from where their power flows. Their confidence does not depend on possessions, achievements, or praise. It springs from the unshakable truth that they are one with the source of all supply. This realization radiates through every action and draws matching abundance. Confidence is also an act of gratitude. It says to the universe, "I trust you completely." It is gratitude expressed through composure. When you are truly grateful, you do not worry. You know that the law of divine compensation never fails. You walk through uncertainty with serenity because you recognize that every delay hides a blessing, every detour holds a lesson, and every challenge carries a gift. That kind of gratitude is confidence in disguise, the unspoken faith that all is well, and the universe, hearing that vibration, rushes to confirm it in your experience. Those who lack confidence speak often of their problems, for they seek energy from others to fill their emptiness. Those who possess quiet confidence speak little of difficulty. They are too focused on the solution already forming. Their silence is not avoidance, it is mastery. They know that words carry power, and so they speak only when their vibration is aligned with certainty. The moment you begin to justify or explain your situation, you leak energy. The moment you rest in quiet assurance, you conserve energy and direct it toward manifestation. Confidence also shapes how you handle money. When you treat money with reverence but not fear, it flows easily. Fear causes contraction, confidence causes expansion. Spend with gratitude. Give with joy and receive with openness. These are the gestures of quiet confidence. You are not clinging to money, nor are you careless with it. You know that it is energy in motion, returning always to its source. Confidence in divine supply ensures that what you release returns multiplied. The fearful hoard, the confident circulate. And circulation is the law of increase. Quiet confidence is a frequency of peace that others cannot disturb. You may face obstacles, yet your energy remains composed. That composure is power. The universe can only work through a calm channel. When you panic, you close the circuit. When you trust, you open it. Confidence is the open circuit through which the current of abundance flows freely. Every time you choose calmness over chaos, you strengthen the channel. Every time you hold steady in faith, instead of reacting to appearances, you demonstrate mastery. The universe observes that steadiness and entrusts you with more to manage, for it knows you will not waver. The vibration of quiet confidence is contagious. It uplifts environments, transforms relationships, and inspires cooperation. When you walk into a room with silent assurance, others sense it. They do not know why they trust you, but they do. They offer support, opportunities, and resources because your energy feels certain. This is the unseen power of vibration at work. Your inner calm becomes an invitation for outer harmony. The universe uses other people as channels to fulfill your confidence, sending through them the opportunities that match your energy. Confidence is also the antidote to impatience. When you are confident, you no longer chase time. You understand that everything comes at the perfect moment. Impatience vibrates with lack, confidence vibrates with fullness. The one who is confident walks as though already supplied. They do not rush because they already feel complete. And because they feel complete, life mirrors that completeness back to them. The universe never rewards haste, it rewards harmony. Quiet confidence is harmony embodied. To cultivate this vibration, you must speak to yourself as the universe would speak to you. With love, assurance, and faith. Tell yourself daily, "I am supported, I am guided. Everything is unfolding perfectly." These are not mere affirmations, they are realignments of energy. Each repetition deepens your confidence until it becomes your natural state. When confidence becomes your nature, the universe mirrors it without effort. Doors open before you knock, and the path clears before you walk. Quiet confidence is not learned from the world, it is remembered from within. It is the soul's natural posture when it remembers its source. The more you dwell in that remembrance, the more magnetic you become. Confidence is the vibration of unity with the infinite, and the infinite never doubts, never fears, never hurries. To carry that vibration is to carry the key to every treasure the universe holds.